Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I note that the hour has come and that a quorum of this council is present. This council will now come to order. Members will please take your seats. Visitors will retire to the seats outside the rails. Any sidebar conversations, we ask that you take them outside the chambers. Before proceeding, I would ask all those present to please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate. Thank you very much. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Pastor Gregory Fleming of St. Joseph Baptist Church. He is here today as guest of Council Member Brooks. I will ask all members and guests to please rise.
Let us look to the Lord. O Lord our God, how excellent is thy name in all of the earth. Before the mountains were brought forth, or even before the earth and the world was formed, thou art God. We come to thee, O God, this morning to give thanks to you for giving us this glorious day. We first say thank you for our last night lying down. For it was then, God, that we chose what time to lay down and rest. But this morning, God, you chose what time to wake us up. And we pause to say thank you. We thank you for your grace and for your mercy. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We ask, God, that now your presence would be in this chamber. That, God, that everything that will be done first to give you glory and to give you honor. And then, God, it will be done that the people may become a better people. We pray, Father, that you would guide and direct every decision, and that, God, you would give a clear vision to everyone. That, God, we might come together as one, unifying ourselves as one. That, God, in all that we say and all that we do, God, we would come together with one mind, one heart, and one vision. We pray, Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ, that you would move mightily in this place, that you would touch everyone under the sound of my voice, that, God, you would bless, strengthen, and keep, and allow each of us, God, to know that all things are wrought by prayer. And so, God, we turn every decision over to you this morning, asking, God, that your spirit would be present in every council person, that, God, you would allow them to know that it is in you that they have all of their movement and all of their beings. We say thank you, and we ask, God, in the name of Jesus, that you would now have your way. We celebrate you. We give you glory and honor. In the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ, we pray it all with thanksgiving, and all of the people of God said, amen.
The chair thanks the pastor for his invocation. Council will be at ease. The next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May the 9th, 2024. The chair recognizes Councilmember Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May 9th, 2024 be approved.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, May the 9th, 2024 stand approved. All those in favor will indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the journal is approved. The next order of business is request for leave of absence, and the chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the majority, a leave of absence is requested for Councilmember Ahmad.
The chair thanks the council member. Leave will be granted. The chair recognizes Councilmember Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. On behalf of the minority, there are no requests for leaves of absence today.
The chair thanks the council member. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for a motion concerning certain legislative matters that may arise during the course of today's session of council and that were not listed on the calendar circulated prior to today's session.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that any of the following matters, if considered today, may be added to the agenda for this session of council and as required by law, subsequently published on an amended agenda after the consideration of those matters. Resolutions authorizing hearings, amendments to bills on first reading, the reconsideration of a bill vetoed by or recalled from the mayor, amendments to bills recalled from the mayor, resolutions taking substantive action to be voted on in this session, a motion to withdraw a bill or resolution that is not on the calendar, and a motion placing a bill or resolution on or returning a bill or resolution from the suspension calendar that is not listed on today's calendar. The purpose of this motion is to provide the public with notice concerning possible actions by council that arose too late to be included on the calendar that was published prior to today's session.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the legislative matters stated by Councilmember Gilmore Richardson may be added to the agenda for today should those matters arise during the course of this session of council. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. The chair will dispense with the regular order of business to recognize the guests and visitors joining us in the chambers this morning. On behalf of all members of City Council, we welcome you to our council session. We appreciate your taking the time to join us as we attend to the legislative affairs of our city. We certainly invite you to come again. We also have with us joining us this morning is the second grade students from Logan Elementary School. We're going to ask for them to stand. They are guests of Council Member Kendra Brooks. We welcome our young people here as they get a chance to witness democracy in action. At this time, the chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla, who will present a resolution honoring Dexter Resta for his acceptance to Yale University and recognizing Dexter's historic achievement as the first prep charter high school graduate in the 2nd Councilmanic District to earn a full scholarship to Yale University. Would Dexter Resta and those accompanying him please join the councilman at the podium? Also joining him would be Councilmember Driscoll, Councilmember Thomas, Councilmember Bass, Councilmember Brooks, Councilmember O'Rourke, and Councilmember Phillips. The chair at this moment recognizes Councilmember Jones.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. One other student has joined us today, and in full disclosure, she is my granddaughter. This is Ziza W. Jones from String Theory, scholar and an icon lacrosse player and budding track star. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. We welcome you to City Council today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Who's speaking first?
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Thomas, Chair of Education, for standing in for Councilmember Mark Squilla and presenting this resolution on my behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council President. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's not every day that we get an opportunity to brag about the young people in the city of Philadelphia, especially when they accomplish something that is historic in nature. When you talk about Philadelphia being a school of eds, meds, and beds, we take a lot of pride in our education system, and as the chair of the Education Committee, it's always an honor when we can put ourselves in a position to recognize a young person for accomplishing something that young people don't necessarily accomplish every single day. And so today, we're here to celebrate Dexter. Dexter, who, as you have already heard, has been accepted to Yale University. In order to get accepted to a prestigious institution like that, your academics must be impeccable. So before we even start, can we all give Dexter a round of applause? So honoring Dexter Resta for his acceptance to Yale University and recognizing Dexter's historic achievement as the first prep charter high school graduate to earn a full scholarship to Yale University.
And whereas Dexter Resta moved to Philadelphia from California with his mother and 4 younger siblings during his 10th grade year, Dexter's loving, tight-knit family has provided him with the foundation for his academic achievement and his future success. And
whereas after moving to Philadelphia, Dexter's family settled in South Philadelphia, hear that, Council President, and a young man enrolled at the preparatory charter school of mathematics, science, technology, and careers, where he found a strong, supportive school community that was dedicated to fostering his intellectual curiosity. And
Whereas, during his time at Prep Charter, Dexter excelled academically, particularly in math and science classes, and Dexter's stellar academic credentials earned him scholarship offers to several prestigious colleges and universities. From among these offers, Dexter chose to accept a full scholarship to attend Yale University, where he intends to double major in mechanical engineering and economics. When Dexter arrives in New Haven in the fall of 2024, he will be the first Prep Charter graduate to receive a full scholarship to Yale. And
whereas Dexter intends to further develop his passion for math and science while in college and plans to work at NASA after completing his studies. With his academic gifts and boundless energy, Dexter is sure to make a lasting impact on the field of space exploration in his future career. And
whereas Dexter Resta's acceptance to Yale University with a full scholarship is a momentous achievement for Dexter and the Resta family, the prep charter community, and the entire city of Philadelphia. The council is pleased and proud to join in celebrating Dexter's accomplishments. Now, therefore, be it.
Bula bula. Resolved by the council of the city of Philadelphia that the council hereby honors Dexter Resta for his acceptance to Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut, and recognizes his historical achievement as the first prep charter high school graduate to earn a full scholarship to Yale. Further resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to Dexter Resta as evidence of the sincere sentiments of this legislative body. Again, let's give Dexter Resta a round of applause. Woo!
The chair recognizes Dexter Resta, and also CEO of Prep Charter School, David Wright.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I would like to thank God for always watching over me and guiding me throughout life. And also, I would like to thank the Council of the City of Philadelphia for the recognition. It is an honor for me to stand before all of you here today. Also, I would like to thank Prep Charter for providing me with a strong foundation in education and for the support and resources that assisted me throughout my high school career. I would like to thank my family who's here today. First of all, Aunt Lily for helping me and my family through tough challenges and also being a second mother to me. Lastly, I would like to thank my mom for always being my superhero, my best friend, and my mentor. Thank you for sacrificing your life to raise me and my 4 siblings alone. Thank you for providing a roof over my head, food on the table, and being proud of me, even when I had nothing to be proud of. Even with cancer, my mom works very, very hard to provide me and my siblings. You know, I live with my mom, and I still don't know how she does it. As much as this is an accomplishment for me, this is a huge achievement for her. I love you, Mom. If I had one piece of advice for the next generation, it would be not to let your situation define who you are. We can't change where we begin in this game of life, but we can change how we play it and how we end it. So if you have a goal, pursue it. Furthermore, as you see in my life, I did not achieve this on my own. Always remember the people who support you at your lowest. Those are the ones who deserve you at your highest. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes CEO of Prep Charter School, David Wright.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the council for this wonderful proclamation and honor. I'd also like to recognize members of our board, Michael Giordano Sr. with the Friends, Wick Savage with Friends, Michael Giordano Jr. with the Prep Board, our principal, Joanne Moore. Fred Musili is our president. It really does take a village, right? Working together, and we couldn't be more proud of Dexter. And when I talk to our staff and our students at Prep Charter about his accomplishment, I like to be very specific about it. There were 57,465 applicants to Yale for the 2028 graduating class. They only accepted 3.7%. That's the lowest percentage of acceptance in the history of Yale University. And Dexter was one. Probably all know Yale has produced 5 presidents, 19 Supreme Court justices, 31 living billionaires, 54 college founders and presidents, 10 founders of this country. It's a pretty good school. And we are all excited that one of us at Prep Charter achieved this goal and is going forth. And he has a lot of support here in Philadelphia, not only from his Prep Charter family, but from the 3,500 Yale alumni who are here in this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilmember Squiller.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say that, you know, as a Philadelphia citizen and not as an elected official, this is a really special moment, and it's great to see our young people strive to succeed. You know, we always see the stories and the bad stories of some of what the young folks do, but never really get to celebrate the great achievements of so many of our young people here in the city of Philadelphia that are the majority of them. And to be able to achieve this goal, to be accepted into Yale University, it makes us all proud and makes your family proud, I'm sure. And you know what, a lot of the apples don't fall far from the tree. Thank you to the parents for what you have done and the opportunities you have given your children. So God bless you all and congratulations.
Thank you. Council will be at ease. I want to also take a moment to acknowledge State Representative Rick Krajewski, who's joining us today. Rick, could you stand, please? Thank you for joining us today, Rick. The next order of business is communications. The chair requests that the Sergeant at Arms deliver the messages from the mayor to the chief clerk. The chief clerk will read the messages from the mayor and any other communications in her possession.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I'm submitting herewith for the consideration of your honorable body the following proposed ordinance. An ordinance amending Chapter 19-3500 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Hospital Assessments to revise provisions related to hospital assessments and authorizing the Department of Public Health to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Commonwealth Department of Human Services relating to such hospital assessments, all under certain terms and conditions. And a resolution appointing Carrie Feeler-Bender to the Board of Directors for the Old City Special Services District. And to the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, I am pleased to advise you that on May 15th, 2024, I signed the following bill, which was passed in Council at its session on May 2nd, 2024. Bill number 240003. There are no other communications in my possessions, Council President.
Thank you. The messages will be printed in the journal. Now we have introduction of bills and resolutions. The chair recognizes Councilmember Phillips.
Thank you, Council President. I have one bill for introduction today.
Will the clerk please read the title of the bill?
An ordinance amending Chapter 9-600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses by adding a new section regulating the hours of operation of certain establishments and providing for penalties within an area bounded by Ogons Avenue, between Haynes Street and 66th Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. The chair recognizes Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I offer one bill on your behalf and one non-privileged resolution on behalf of Councilmember Nina Ahmad.
Thank you very much. Will the clerk please read the title of the bill and resolution?
An ordinance amending Chapter 19-3500 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Hospital Assessments to revise provisions relating to hospital assessments and authorizing the Department of Public Health to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Commonwealth Department of Human Services relating to such hospital assessments, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a non-privileged resolution honoring the life of Christian Hall, urging the Pennsylvania State Senate to pass House Bill 1305 and recognizing both Asian Pacific American Heritage Month and Mental Health Awareness Month.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at our next session of council. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jamie Gaudier.
Good morning, Council President. Today I have two bills for introduction.
Thank you very much. Will the clerk please read the title of the bills?
An ordinance granting permission to University City Eurov Corporation in order to demarcate the boundaries of University City Eurov District to construct and maintain a clear nylon cord and/or plastic tubes and other ancillary facilities, including a maximum of 10 poles along, over, and in certain public rights-of-way and city streets, and/or to attach such demarcation facilities to existing facilities owned by other entities authorized by other city ordinances subject to such owner's consent, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. Council will be at ease. Councilmember Jones, would you like to be recognized?
Yes, briefly. We have another second grader from Logan Charter School. Will you please stand? And the reason I'm recognizing her, other than her interest in civics, is she wrote a project about me. I haven't read it yet, so would you join me in welcoming her? Delani, welcome to City Council. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the next bill?
An ordinance amending Chapter 19-3200 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Keystone Opportunity Zone, Economic Development District, and Strategic Development Area to provide for additional extensions of certain benefits under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. The chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. I have one resolution, and I would ask that after the resolution is read, that we give our guests, another young person who's here, a round of applause for this amazing achievement.
And a privileged resolution recognizing and congratulating the champion of the week, Antoinette Ellis, a North Philadelphia native and student at Parkway Center City Middle College, on the occasion of being named as a Gates Scholar.
Council President, I don't know if she'll go to Yale like Councilmember Phillips and Dexter, but her education will be free for any institution she decides to go to. Antoinette, can you stand up so we can give you a round of applause?
Congratulations.
Thank you, Council President. We will be recognizing her at a later date. Thank you.
You're welcome. This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilmember Curtis Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. 3 bills, one on behalf of the administration, 3 resolutions, 2 of them co-sponsored by every member of City Council.
Will the clerk please read the title of the bills and resolutions?
An ordinance amending Title IV of the Philadelphia Code, the Philadelphia Building Construction and Occupancy Code, by revising Subcode PM, the Philadelphia Property Maintenance Code, to clarify provisions related to the necessary urgent repair program and make technical changes, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a sidewalk cafe in the vicinity of 3743 Midvale Avenue, Philadelphia, PA, 19129, under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Chapter 10-2000 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Unlawful Manufacture of Firearms to add restrictions relating to rate of fire acceleration devices, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a privileged resolution authorizing the City Council Committee on Licenses and Inspection to hold public hearings to examine the progress of implementing Section 906 of the Philadelphia Property Maintenance Code entitled Necessary Urgent Repair Program. Understand the impact it would have if fully funded, and further exploring partnerships and programs that could assist in successfully executing this initiative.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution honoring, recognizing, and supporting the courage of the residents at Brith Shalom House, located at 3939 Conshohocken Avenue, in their pursuit of safe, fair, accessible, and affordable housing in the city of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution honoring Dr. Chad Womack and the United Negro College Fund for their work to advance STEM education in the city of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman Rulandow.
Good morning, Council President, colleagues. No bills or resolutions today.
The chair recognizes Councilman Ketsi Lozada.
Thank you, Council President. I have no bills and no resolutions today.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young, Esquire.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I offer 2 resolutions.
Will the clerk please read the title of the resolutions?
A privileged resolution honoring the life and legacy of Doris Jean Hackney, the grandmother of North Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar.
And a privileged resolution authorizing the Joint Committees on Public Safety and Streets and Services to hold hearings to investigate illegal street racing meetups in Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Minority Leader Brooks.
Good morning, Council President. I have 1 privileged resolution and 1 resolution to introduce today.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the title of the resolutions?
A privileged resolution celebrating May 28th as Women Hygiene Day, recognizing the urgent need for the city to invest in addressing period poverty and calling for an expanded period equity effort centered on educating and supplying communities across Philadelphia with women's hygiene resources.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes...
Oh, I'm sorry, the non-privileged resolution?
Yes.
Celebrating the removal of cannabis from Schedule 1 of the Federal Controlled Substances Act and recognizing the urgent need for equitability, distributed cannabis sales revenue that restores and repairs communities historically targeted by the war on drugs, and calling on the legislature of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to legalize and equitably tax cannabis.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration of the next session of Council. The chair recognizes Councilman Jim Harity.
Good morning, Council President. I have 1 non-privileged resolution. I am co-introducing with the gentleman from North Philadelphia, Jeffrey Young.
Will the clerk please read the title of the non-privileged resolution?
A non-privileged resolution renaming the 2700 block of Germantown Avenue Leo Rosenblum Way to honor Leo Rosenblum for his significant contributions to the community and his outstanding legacy in business.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at our next session of Council. The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Rourke.
Thank you, Council President. I have no bills or resolutions to introduce today.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Driscoll.
Good morning, Mr. President. I have 1 bill for consideration today.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read the title of the bill?
An ordinance amending Chapter 9-600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses by adding a new section regulating the hours of operation of certain establishments and providing for penalties within an area bounded by East Allegheny Avenue, Kensington Avenue, Tarsdale Avenue, and Frankfurt Avenue, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Neill. Chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer one non-privileged resolution and one bill.
Thank you. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the bill and non-privileged resolution?
An ordinance amending Chapter 12-900 Parking Regulations and Penalties and Chapter 12-2800 Administrative Adjudication of Parking Violations of the Philadelphia Code to add prohibitions and penalties related to parking certain large vehicles, including boats, motorhomes, house coaches, house trailers, truck campers, recreational cargo trailers, and recreational trailers under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a non-privileged resolution appointing Carrie Feeler Bender to the Board of Directors for the Old City Special Services District.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at the next session of council. The chair recognizes Deputy Whip, Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer one bill on your behalf, one privilege resolution co-introduced with Councilwoman Ketty Lozada, and one bill co-introduced with Councilman Anthony Phillips.
Will the clerk please read the title of the bills and resolutions?
An ordinance amending Chapter 9-600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses by adding a new section regulating the hours of operation of certain establishments and providing for penalties within the vicinity of an area bounded by North Broad Street, North Park Avenue, between West Chew Avenue and West Tabor Avenue, and in the vicinity of Wagner Avenue between North Broad Street and Old York Road, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Section 14-303 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Public Hearings of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to change the number of the board members required for a quorum or for action taken at a zoning board of adjustment hearing, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a privileged resolution calling on the Committee of Health and Human Services to conduct a hearing regarding the efficacy and impact of recovery homes and transitional housing, and gather input from all stakeholders, including members of affected communities, representatives from recovery homes and transitional housing, and from those in recovery, to better understand the challenges and concerns from all perspectives.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The next order of business is reports from committee. The chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for a report from the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Finance reports out two bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please read the report?
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee on Finance, to which was referred Resolution Number 240059, entitled Amending Title 19 of the Philadelphia Code, entitled Finances, Taxes, and Collections, by adding a new chapter 19-4600 entitled Low Income Tax Provisions, by providing for the refund or forgiveness of real estate tax liability of certain low-income residents attributable to real estate tax increases and increases in the assessed value of the taxpayer's homestead under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for a motion.
Okay. One more. Yeah, there's one more. The Committee on Finance, to which was referred Bill number 240376, entitled Authorizing an Increase in the Non-Electoral Indebtedness of the City Within the Pennsylvania Constitutional Limit, authorizing the bond committee to sell bonds at public or private negotiated sale, to provide funds towards various capital municipal purposes, providing for appropriations to the Sinking Fund Commission for the payment of such bonds, and authorizing agreements to provide credit or payment or liquidity sources for the bonds in connection with the issuance of bonds and certain other actions, and rescinding the authorization set forth in Bill number 230186-A, approved September 15, 2023, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation.
The chair now recognizes Councilmember Catherine Gilmore Richardson for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit first reading this day of the bills that were just read into the record by the Chief Clerk.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit the consideration of the bills just read by the Chief Clerk at today's session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. These bills will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a report from the Committee on Streets and Services.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Streets and Services reports out 16 bills with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Will the Chief Clerk please read the report?
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee on Streets and Services, to which was referred Bill Number 240119, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing Encroachments in the Nature of 2 light poles and 3 existing light poles in the vicinity of southeast and northwest corners of JFK Boulevard and North Broad Streets and the northeast corner of John F. Kennedy Boulevard and North Juniper Street, all under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240183, entitled An Ordinance Establishing Parking Regulations in the Vicinity of Hoffman Street between South 19th Street and South 20th Street, Pierce Street between South 17th Street and South 18th Street, Pierce Street between South 21st Street and South 20th Street, Siegel Street between South 22nd Street and South 23rd Street, McClellan Street between South 18th Street and South 17th Street, McClellan Street between South 19th Street and South 18th Street, McClellan Street between South 20th Street and South 19th Street, Jackson Street between South 15th Street and South 16th Street, Jackson Street between South 19th Street and South 20th Street, McKean Street between South 20th Street and South 21st Street, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240184, entitled An Ordinance Establishing Parking Regulations in the Vicinity of South 18th Street between Reed Street and Morton Street, South 18th Street between Dickerson Street and Reed Street, South 18th Street between Tasker Street and Dickinson Street, Oakford Street between South 24th Street and South 25th Street, Oakford Street between South 22nd Street and South 23rd Street, South 19th Street between Dickinson Street and Tasker Street, South 21st Street between Tasker Street and Morris Street, Manton Street between South 20th Street and South 19th Street, Bancroft Street between Tasker Street and Morris Street, Alter Street between South 22nd Street and South 21st Street. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240191, entitled An Ordinance Establishing Parking Regulations in the Vicinity of Norris Street between Belgrade Street and Gall Street, Ritter Street between Dolphin Street and Norris Street, York Street between Mercer Street and Thompson Street, Hager Street between Cedar Street and Gall Street, Wishart Street between Frankfurt Avenue and Emerald Street, Delancey Street between South 2nd Street and Front Street between Spruce Street and Pine Street, Spruce Street between South 2nd Street and South 3rd Street. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240221, a bill entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Procurement Commissioner to enter into a contract for the construction of a sewer and a pertinent work required to provide public sewer service in the 600 and 700 blocks of Hendren Street under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 230239, an ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a sidewalk cafe in the vicinity of 2201 Christian Street, Philadelphia, PA 19146, under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240240, an ordinance amending Section 9-203 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Sidewalk Sales to revise and clarify certain provisions related to city parks and recreation facilities and make related technical changes, all under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240243, an ordinance authorizing an encroachment in the nature of a staircase in the vicinity of 1951 East Monmouth Street, Philadelphia, PA 1912-134, under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240250, an ordinance authorizing the installation, ownership, and maintenance of various encroachments along the 700 block of Sansom Street, Philadelphia, PA 19106, under certain terms and conditions. Respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to Council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill Number 240282, entitled An Ordinance Granting Permission to Germantown Jewish Center to demarcate the boundaries of a Germantown Erub district to construct and maintain a clear nylon cord and/or plastic tubes and other ancillary facilities, including a maximum of 10 poles along, over, and in certain public rights-of-way in city streets, and or to attach such demarcation facilities to existing facilities owned by other entities authorized by other city ordinances, subject to owner's consent, all under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. Bill number 240301, an ordinance authorizing encroachments in the nature of a sidewalk cafe in the vicinity of 6516 Castor Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19149, under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill number 240302, an ordinance establishing a no parking regulation on the south side of Wise's Mill Road between Henry Avenue and Forbidden Drive, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill number 240329, an ordinance establishing a no parking regulation on the west side of North 34th Street between Indiana Avenue and Clearfield Street, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill number 240331, an ordinance amending Section 9-215 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Streeteries, modifying requirements related to the city's revised standards and requirements associated with the use of portions of the right-of-way for outdoor dining, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill number 240334, entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 12-2700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Permit Parking Districts, by changing certain boundaries and establishing new permit parking districts, all under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation. And Bill number 240335, an ordinance amending Chapter 12-2700 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Permit Parking Districts by extending the authorized duration of temporary parking permits and setting new permit application fees, all under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation.
The chair recognizes Councilman Young for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading on this day of bills that were just read into the record by the chief clerk.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit the consideration of the bills just read by the chief clerk at today's session of council. All those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. These bills will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. The chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla for a report from the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Commerce and Economic Development reports one bill with a favorable recommendation.
To the President and members of the Council of the City of Philadelphia, the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development, to which was referred Bill number 240118, entitled Amending Title IX, Regulation of Businesses, Trades, and Professions of the Philadelphia Code to add a new chapter concerning protections for consumers against unfair methods of competition and unfair or deceptive acts or practices, and providing remedies, all under certain terms and conditions, respectfully reports it has considered and amended the same and returns the attached bill to council with a favorable recommendation.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Squilla for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the rules of council be suspended to permit the first reading this day of the bill that was just read into the record by the chief clerk.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the rules of council be suspended so as to permit the consideration of the bill just read by the chief clerk at today's session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. This bill will be placed on our first reading calendar for today. The next order of business is the consideration of the calendar. I note that the bills just reported from the committees with the suspension of rules have been deemed to have had a first reading. These bills will be placed on the second reading and final passage calendar for the next session of council. As there are no additional bills on the first reading calendar, the chair recognizes Councilmember Gilmore Richardson for the purpose of calling up bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendars.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following bills and resolutions are being called up from the second reading and final passage calendars today. Numbers 240444, 240445, 240446, 240450, 240012, 240247-A, 240281, and 240087-A. The following bills and resolutions on the calendar are being held, number 240220.
Thank you. Before considering these bills and resolutions, we will consider public comment as follows. Your public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at today's council session. All speakers must sign up in order to testify. If you have not already signed up for today's session, please do so by giving your name to Ms. Hassan at the table outside the rails to my left. Once you have signed up, you will be called in the order in which your name appears on the sign-up sheet. Under ideal circumstances, public commenters each will have 3 minutes to speak. However, this time limit may vary from session to session. Today's time limit will be 2 minutes based upon the value of individuals commenting on public comments today. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 2-minute limit. When you begin speaking, you will see a green light on the podium. When there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, the light will turn yellow, which is your reminder to conclude your remarks. Once 2 minutes have passed, the light will turn red and the sergeant at arms will disconnect the microphone. At that point, please yield the podium to the next speaker if you have not already done so. I also reserve the right pursuant to our rules of council to limit repetitious comments on the same matter. I will now ask the chief clerk to please call the name of our first speaker.
State Representative Rick Krajewski.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Council President, esteemed colleagues in Council. I'd like to begin by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to provide public comment on Resolution 240450. I especially want to thank my neighbor and Council Member at Large, Nicholas O'Rourke, for his leadership in introducing this resolution honoring the vital labor of workers at Penn. As many of you know, my legislative district includes the University of Pennsylvania. I'm also a University of Pennsylvania alum. Attending Penn is what brought me to Philadelphia. And while my constituents may never let me live down my New York roots, it is here in our city that I became the person that I am today. I know, you can laugh, it's all right. I love my city, and every day I'm grateful that I get the opportunity to fight for my West and Southwest Philly neighbors in Harrisburg. And I will also take this opportunity to dispel the rumors once and for all. In case you were still wondering, I am not related to Joan Krajewski.
We can see that.
You can see that, can't you? I don't know, maybe you're a little confused. So I would like to say that I'm here before you today, filled with pride from my alma mater. But I would be lying to you, because today I am ashamed. I am ashamed of the University of Pennsylvania. I am ashamed that my university, our city's largest employer, largest private employer, with an endowment of over $20 billion, 5 times the size of the entire budget of the school district of Philadelphia, has continuously nickeled and dimed workers across campus, going so far as to tell bargaining units as small as dozens of workers that they are unable to pay them livable wages. I am ashamed that my university, which recently received royalties of almost $1 billion from vaccine patents, employed union-busting tactics such as election delays and exclusionary clauses against graduate student workers. This is especially egregious when you consider that the research done for those patents was supported by the work of graduate student researchers. And I am ashamed that my university called for the violent removal of peaceful student protesters who demonstrated tremendous courage in demanding our university hold itself accountable for investments complicit in the genocide in Gaza. I would like to be here before you filled with pride. I would like to say that Penn has shown up for its workers and its students, but I cannot. And as someone who also represents the workers and students of the University of Pennsylvania, it is my duty to defend their rights. And for us, as public officials, it is our duty to show up for the people that make our institutions run. The reality is, without its workers, Penn would not be the world-class institution that it is. Without the library workers of DC 47, students cannot study for their exams or work on their term papers. Without the residential advisors of OPEIU, campus dormitories are unable to run effectively. And without the janitorial workers and resident physicians of 1199C and CIR, respectively, the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania ceases to function. All we are asking for is for a university that benefits immensely from its relationship to the city of Philadelphia, a city that pays zero with a Z, Councilmember O'Rourke, $0 in property taxes. All we are asking for is for Penn to come to the table and value the labor of its workers. Do not engage in union-busting tactics. Do not spread misinformation propaganda. Do not stall and delay contracts while still asking people to show up to work. It is in Penn's interest to negotiate in good faith with the unions advocating for dignified contracts, because unions not only make better workplaces, they make better workers, right? They make better workers. Penn can provide an example for other employers, and I, as an alum, and those of you on council who are alums as well, can hold our heads high and say that when the time came, Penn did the right thing. There is still time to do the right thing. The workers are waiting, and they're watching. The Get Up grad workers made history as the biggest new union in this city in over 50 years, right? Over 50 years. And then you know who made history before them? The residential physicians at the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania. Thousands of workers who now have the power of a union are ready to throw down to get what they deserve. And we, as elected officials, must go to the mat for them as well, because unions belong at Penn, and unions belong at every workplace in this city. Thank you for your consideration of Resolution 244.
Bill Hoffman. Can Francis Bourne, Paul Boney, and Paul Elia also make their way to the podium? We have Bill Hoffman, Francis Bourne, Paul Boney, and Paul Elia.
My name is Bill Hoffner, William Hoffner. I am a former president of the East Falls Community Council.
Can you speak into the mic or lift the microphone up? Kind of can't hear you, sir.
Can I start over?
There you go. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is William Hoffner. I am a former president of the East Falls Community Council. On behalf of the more than 150 neighbors who gathered on May 1st, and of the 382 petitions, I am opposing Bill 240012 in its current form. On April 8th, we appeared before the Rules Committee, and after hearing our testimony, the committee chair said, our request for protection sounded very reasonable. A direct outcome of the April 8th session was that Councilman Jones undertook to incorporate neighborhood protections into Bill 240012. We thank him for his efforts to date. I'm here today with my neighbors because the bill does not yet provide sufficient protections. As I've personally gathered dozens of signatures in the petitioning, I feel it was my responsibility to represent the questions I am regularly asked, questions for which I have no answers. If the new water treatment facility construction will not start until the next decade, why is this zoning change being rushed through now? If there is a rush to passage that is part of a viable plan, where is the plan? How did the PWD get funding for this project without a plan? Okay, so I'm requesting the City Council grant more time for our RCO, Councilman Jones, and the PWD to arrive at a satisfactory negotiated commitment that protects the residential community. I am presenting a petition signed by 382 East Falls residents. The petitioners are constituents of Councilmember Jones and the at-large council members. For district council members, the PWD's infrastructure plan contains 400 projects, possibly on your district. Please do not find yourself someday regretting that you didn't use the leverage you're about to give away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Francis
speaker.
Francis Bourne, Paul Boney, Paul Elia, and then Connor Emery also make their way to the podium.
Thank you. My name is Francis Bourne. Into the mic. Can you all hear me? And I'm testifying in opposition to Bill 240012. And as I said in my testimony to the Rules Committee, I was told by a wise man, your urgency is not my emergency. That gentleman was East Falls' own Councilman, Curtis Jones. I don't understand why this change to the zoning for the Queen Lane Water Treatment Plant is being treated as an emergency if the planning process will not even begin until 2030. I don't understand why Council is not concerned about the other as yet unknown impacts of a project of this scale and duration may have on all of the residential neighborhoods that border the plant, including Abbotsford, Ridge Avenue, Hunting Park, and Allegheny West. And I don't understand why City Council is not more interested in the Water Department's citywide plans for how it will be spending an estimated $2.5 billion over 30 years. I don't understand why you wouldn't want a master plan for this major undertaking. And I don't understand why the community protections that haven't been incorporated into this bill can't be rewritten into an enforceable agreement. Trust us is not an agreement you would accept any more than we should. And I don't understand why the residents of East Falls have to work so hard to make their concerns known and why we are being shut out of further discussions. We deserve to be more than just a checklist on PDW's to-do list. Please explain it to me.
Paul Boney, Paul Elia, and Connor Emery.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me? My name is Paul Elia. I'm an architect and a member of the East Falls Zoning Committee. I oppose Bill number 240012, which would provide a by right zoning for the reconstruction of the Queen Lane treatment plant. However, I'd like to say we're in favor of that work. It's just not the way it's being mismanaged. In my 35 years of experience as a design professional, I've never seen a project of this scale not have to submit a master plan for approval. A fine example as to why a master plan is needed. The water department is going to have large generators, emergency generators. We understand that. And they're going to need monthly testing. We understand that as well. We don't understand why Without a master plan and an agreement, we can't get a hospital-grade acoustical attenuation package included in the zoning. This requirement could be part of the binding contract with the water department. We don't understand why there is no requirement for producing a plan. We have the opportunity now, without delay, to impose this type of a requirement and as a condition of the rezoning. Please hold the bill until the water department commits in a binding agreement with a master plan. You can amend the building code to require it. We ask you to legislate like you live there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Councilman Curtis Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to recognize my great constituents from East Falls. The reason why that's a great community is because of their work. And everybody has a right to speak. Everybody doesn't have a right to the truth. And when you say on public record that you haven't had input or there was no discussions, we've had several meetings with the water department going back over a year. So let me take you back a little bit so that everybody has context. You remember when we had that water emergency and we had to go buy bottled water? We had to buy bottled water because there was not a system that allowed the water department to switch from Belmont to City Avenue to be able to, in a seamless way, cut off contaminants that could have infiltrated our water. I love the fact that they use my quote, your urgency doesn't constitute my emergency. Like it, love it. However, the urgency is that we are at risk of losing millions, tens of millions of dollars from the federal government if we do not demonstrate that we are moving this plan. They are right. It's 10 years from now. So what we were able to do in the negotiations that we never had was to say, here are the things that you're concerned about, of which we produced about a dozen. All of them could not go into the amendment we are introducing today because the law department said we can't do that. So they got things like pathways and the width of it, where the lights can be, where the generators have to be, what type of insulation to keep sound from going into those homes that would devalue the real estate that they purchased. But to say that we haven't had negotiations, to say that there's no real need for moving this amendment doesn't close the door. We can have AA amendments, Mr. President. So if we can get more of their concerns into the actual legislation, because that's what it is. They don't want the promise made today to not be kept 10 years from now. You know, it'll be a different water department commissioner, it'll be a different situation, but they want their rights preserved in this bill. To the degree that we could, it's in these amendments. And those amendments have been circulated to all members of council. And I always found out, I'm the second OG here in council, that when everybody's a little bit pissed off, it's probably a good piece of public policy. And that's what I have to say. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome, Councilmember Jones. Will the clerk please call the next person for public comment?
Connor Emery, then Paul Birdsong and Regina Abramy also make their way up.
Hello, and thank you to the City Council members who have sponsored and supported the resolution for workers at Penn. My name is Connor, and I have worked for Penn for the past 2 years as a residential advisor and organized unionization efforts for just over a full year. So our RAs filed for a union in early 2023 and were immediately told by Penn that we were not workers and that we did not deserve the right to a union. We litigated Penn, and we eventually won our union with an overwhelming election vote in late 2023. We came to the bargaining table with Penn in December, and at our first meeting, we agreed to 6 out of roughly 20 proposals, which was surprisingly a good first meeting with Penn. But it would not last. From January to roughly March, we agreed to none. RAs were required to file a ULP for surface bargaining and to take several actions ranging from speaking to the press to making online petitions to get Penn to even bargain in good faith. But what's more striking about Penn's union busting campaign is what has happened just this past week. We had our last bargaining session with Penn on Monday, in which we brought federal mediators to make sure Penn would bargain in good faith. They did not. Penn forced us into accepting a lowball compensation offer in order to make sure RAs who started this movement could see the fruits of their labor. Upon doing so, Penn decided to go mute in the final hour, failing to sign off on a tentative agreement which could bring RAs to ratify on Tuesday. This was the last day when several RAs would be on campus and able to vote. Penn, having agreed to verbally to the last piece of our contract, lied in order to avoid paying RAs who expressed their democratic preference for a union and for fair compensation. We filed another ULP for aggressive bargaining as a result. As the largest employer in the city of Philadelphia, Penn's actions should not just worry the Penn community, but it should worry the whole city. If Penn is willing to stall and lie just to avoid paying its own students fairly, how far is Penn willing to go to avoid paying other Philadelphians who work for the school? This resolution must be passed for the safety of all of Philadelphia against a greedy institution which seeks to shelter its wealth from those who need it most. But I also want to remark that the City Council's actions cannot stop here. I'm asking the City Council to consider further action, revoke Penn's tax exemption status for city taxes, lobby the state to do the same for state taxes. These exemptions are meant for institutions which support the public good. Penn refuses to do so, and so these privileges are no longer appropriate for this institution.
Paul Birdsong, then Regina Abramy, and Jessica Lubnewski.
Pardon us for a moment. We brought the village with us again. So first, I would like to acknowledge that I got a little passionate last time. So, my bad. But when people come to me and complain to me, cry, bring pictures of their dead children to me and show them to me, or ask me to come to their vigil, it makes me kind of mad. And so I had to, convey the sentiment. So today I'm speaking on Bill 240-180. First, we got a member of the community, OG, Hassan right there. You see, he has the walker. He makes his way here to come be part of this because he's concerned. So I want to acknowledge him before I get to going on the speech that I wrote for y'all. Let's all clap our hands for Mr. Hassan. You know what I'm saying? All right. So now about Bill 240-185. I actually wrote a speech this time like everybody else. So penalties for operating after hours. I know this is in order to, reduce the crime and the people hanging out in front of the stores and doing bad things. We support that. We also support cleaning up the communities, but we are concerned. We know that fentanyl, heroin, meth, and crack come from cartels, and we want to know if we're preparing for the increase in violent crime sure to ensue due to clamping down on the open-air drug market there in Kensington. Are we going to give the police the forensics lab they need to solve the crimes? As we approach this, are we aware that the certainty of consequences curves crime? So when people know they're going to get caught, they're less likely to do it because they know for sure they're going to get caught. It's not that you say, oh, we're going to give you the death penalty. We're going to give you 100 years if we catch you with a certain amount of heroin. It's that we're going to catch you for sure. You ain't going to get away with it. That's what scares it. That's what cleans up our community. That's what protects our people. Are we aware that the certainty of consequence is contingent on the ability to acquire forensics proof to solve crimes? Now, instead of just running my mouth, I brought an example. In Michigan, they have a new forensics lab in a city called Diamondale, small town, huge forensics lab, the size of a community college. Detroit has reported the lowest rate of homicides in 50 years because they're solving crimes from 1964 and 79, and people are getting locked up and they're plastering them all over the news. You shot this man back then, we caught you now, and we're going to catch you every time now. So now the people are safer. Now they're not as scared. Now they feel like their government actually represents them. But that's because they're able to actually solve the crimes. And so what I'm saying is, as you guys do this, as you guys prepare to do this, we support you. And I'm willing to have that conversation. The Panther Party looks for any way that we can to support cleaning up the community and keeping the community safe. However, we want to realize the gravity of the situation and what comes along with the things that you guys are proposing to do. There's going to be a bloodbath when you clamp on that drug trade. When you say y'all can't be here, they're going to resort to prostitution and human trafficking and other things. And we got to get ready for that. And we're not ready for that right now. All power to the people.
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 The people of Philly. All power to the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people.
Regina Abramy.
Excuse me, the chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas.
Before they leave, I just want to say thank you to not just the testimony that we just heard, but the number of people from the community who came out to be a part of that testimony. Last week, it was told to a lot of council members that this space can be somewhat intimidating. So to see that they were able to organize this many people to come down to City Hall who care about this issue, I just want folks to know that we hear you, we see you, you did not waste your time, and I know myself and other council members are 100% in support of the forensic lab. We've allocated the money for it, and I personally have written a letter along with other council members to ask for that lab to be placed in the 3rd Councilmatic District in a facility that's already ready for it to be done as soon as possible. So, Council President, I just want the collective to know that came down here. This is a warm space. This is a welcoming space. We appreciate them taking the time for being here, and we take their advocacy serious. Thank you, Council President.
Thanks, Member Thomas.
Thank you.
Regina Abramy. Can Jessica Lubnewski and Sterling Johnson also make their way up?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to present. Before I speak about my comments related to the Philadelphia Water Department treatment plant in East Falls, I would like, as a faculty member at the University of Pennsylvania, to acknowledge the great efforts of these individuals and tell you I see you and I appreciate you and I understand what you're doing. We support you. So my name again is Regina Abramy. I am a resident of East Falls. I'm a faculty member at UTEN. I'm a taxpayer, a voter, and a concerned citizen. I do feel like I need to take my notes and maybe not follow them because I just learned that the person I voted for, Councilman Jones, makes his decisions based on how much he pisses somebody off. And apparently I just learned that if both sides are pissed, he thinks he's winning. So I would like instead to go a little off record and say instead that as someone who voted for Council Jones, I'm deeply disappointed by those comments because we are essentially being asked to accept an agreement with the Philadelphia Water Department that amounts essentially to paying for a bill before we know what we're getting. That's just bad governance. It's not neighborly, it's not appropriate. And so to his comment that we did not, or we have denied that we've had meetings, I am here today as a resident. I am not a member of the East Falls Community Council. I am someone who lives in that part of town. And I have gone to meetings, and I have listened to the Philadelphia Water Department, and I have consistently seen them essentially nod and handle, but tell us that we need to understand that these are issues that are bigger and beyond us. No, it's not. I have a PhD. I think I'm pretty smart. I think I understand big issues. And what I understand is that you don't pay for bills before you know what you're paying for. And we are essentially being asked to pay for the Philadelphia Water Department without knowing what we're getting. That's just bad business. Nobody does business like that. We know today that we look and try to figure out where some of the money went for Kensington, and we want to look into that, right? We're saying bad business. We want to know where the money goes. So all that we are asking for is for you to look at Bill 240012 and oppose it until we know exactly what is going to be done. It just doesn't make sense. And if Councilman Jones is of the mindset that the problem is that the law department says we have a problem, then you know what to do. Most of you have law degrees here. Change the law. because you should not be in a position where you're signing bills and you don't know what you're getting. And we certainly will continue to oppose it until we see a change. Thank you.
Jessica Libnewski, Sterling Johnson, Sophia Elliott, and Keisha Wilkins also make their way up.
Hi, my name is Jessica Lubineski, and I'm here to support Resolution 240450. I am a member of the Penn Museum Workers United Union and have worked at the Penn Museum at the University of Pennsylvania for about 4.5 years now, and pretty quickly became involved in organizing a union at that workplace. When I first started talking to my colleagues at the Penn Museum, many of whom have worked there for 20, 30, we even have some people who've worked there for 40 years, longer than I've been alive. The main takeaway I had from how people felt about working for the museum and working at Penn was fear. Fear that they would lose their jobs at a moment's notice for no reason, fear that they wouldn't be able to pay the bills, and especially fear that the museum and the university would retaliate against them for organizing a union. And, I'm standing up here as a person who put their face and name on pretty much every public account of union organizing at Penn when we first started. And saying that I felt that fear too, but I knew that what I was doing was worth my time, worth my energy, and worth it for my coworkers, because no one should work at the largest employer in the city of Philadelphia, self-professed best employer in the city of Philadelphia, and be afraid every day that they might just not have a job or not be able to pay their bills. And so I'm really grateful for Councilmember O'Rourke for announcing this bill, and I just want to say Penn needs to listen to the people who work there and take the democratic process seriously. Thank you.
Sterling Johnson, Sophia Elliott, and Keisha Wilkins.
Yes. Hello, my name is, Great. Hello, my name is Sterling Johnson. I'm a housing and harm reduction advocate. We support anyone in the city being displaced. I'm opposed to zoning ordinance 240247. Without more eviction protections and focused targeting and saving public housing, this should not go forward. People we care about the city, we're for development, but not for displacement of current residents that live there. We know that transit-oriented development, focused development, that leads to increased market pressures that will increase legal and illegal evictions in the surrounding area. It will lead to more police calls that will often target for arrests Black, Latinx, and poor white people simply walking, talking, playing music, or just being in public. And we know that the jails are already being accused of being in contempt for the way that they manage their space. We know this because of the experience at the UC townhomes. That shows us that the city needs to step in and mitigate those displacement pressures before we get to a place where we can't go back. I can tell you, I spent 2 years of my life fighting to save them. The city does not have $100 million to actually do that. We need development, we need economic security, but we need the city to actually step in and actually fund those things. And we're talking about in the budget, rental assistance, money for repairs, the $14 million for the redevelopment of the townhome site, help out with Bristol Shalom, Haverford Square in West Philly. Pressures also will cause more homelessness in North Philly. We can't just sweep people up like encampments that were done on Wednesday in Kensington without leading with services, coordinating with DVH and DHS. You lead with services, not with the police. Police came at 5:30, outreach was there at 8. Where do you think people went? That is not the way that we actually solve this problem. PHA has more properties coming online. DHS has the 1115 waiver coming up to help with rent and housing and the housing search. We have to coordinate with Penn and Jefferson around treatment for people. I'm here as a person that cares about this, that has been doing this for a long time.
There are solutions that have to be put in place as we put a fire under the market. That is just the truth. Displacement pressure actually occurs, and we have to mitigate the displacement that does happen to people. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Sophia Elliott, Keisha Wilkins, Ebony Staten, and Kate Perez.
Good morning. My name is Sophia Elliott. I work in District 7 at the Link High School. Thank you, Council President Johnson, Councilmember Lozada, Councilmember Thomas, and other members of the City Council for your continued support of schools. Today, I'm here to testify on Resolution 240450, which celebrates the labor victory at University of Pennsylvania. Supporting graduate workers will continue Penn's tradition of academic excellence. I'm also here to ask the City Council to increase city investment in schools so that more students from Philadelphia can make it to universities like Penn. The school district needs $400 million this year to avoid any cuts, and this is why we are asking for the City Council to boost the share of property taxes going to the district to 60%, which will push our district in the right direction. I'd like to direct your attention to the document on the desk titled Stop Starving Our Schools. This document shows the framework the district uses for its budget. This is the status quo, and this means one teacher to every 30 students, one counselor to 649 students, 3 climate staff members for 6 hours to 449 students. Again, this is the status quo. As a climate manager and/or administrator, my job is to ensure that our school's environment is conducive for students to learn. This means no matter the lack of human capital and resources, we must do our best to provide the best educational programming possible for our students. The Link High School's climate and culture statistics look much better than they did last year. School leadership attributes that to our Relationships First programming. We use restorative systems in our schools like community building, welcome circles for new members to the community, restorative conversations, which include students and climate staff members, harm and healing circles that emphasizes peaceful solutions, and circle of support and accountability. Providing such support to our students wouldn't be possible if we didn't receive additional funding to hire more climate staff members. Thank you again, President Johnson, Councilmember Lozada, Councilmember Thomas, and other members of City Council.
Keisha Wilkins, Ebony Staten, and then Kate Perez.
Good morning. Good morning to City Council and fellow citizens. My name is Ebony Staten, and I live in Northwest Philadelphia in Councilmember Bass's district. I'm here to testify on Resolution 240450, which recognizes the labor victory of University of Pennsylvania. Supporting graduate workers will continue Penn's tradition of academic excellence. I'm also here to ask City Council to support access to academic excellence, especially for our youngest Philadelphians. I want to thank council members who have come out as champions of pre-K, especially my Councilmember Bass, Council President Johnson, Councilmember Phillips, Councilmember Gilmore Richardson, and Councilmember Harity. Please consider championing pre-K in this year's budget by expanding Philadelphia pre-K by 250 seats. Pre-K is one way to make sure kids are on the right track academically. My son was in a child care program in my neighborhood, and during his last year in the program, he focused expressly on school readiness. Because of that, he was prepared for kindergarten. My son learned concepts that helped with his social emotional development. He learned how to socialize with other kids, and he learned routines. All of the structures that helped him succeed in kindergarten were in place in a safe and supportive environment well before he stepped into the kindergarten classroom. My son's father and I were not early childhood educators. We were not experts in child development. We only knew that these early years are important and that we didn't want our son to figure everything out on that first day walking in. Also, we worked full-time jobs, paying our taxes here in Philadelphia. Not having preschool program meant less peace of mind, more stress, and the constant worry that we weren't giving our best to Philadelphia. I want to direct City Council's attention to the paper in front of you entitled Now is the Time. Research and data backs my son's experience, and my son was more prepared for school because he was in a preschool program. However, the same cannot be said of kids across Philadelphia. 72% of kids in District 8 and 68% of kids across the city are failing the 3rd grade PSSA. One way to bring this, Council, I asked for 30 extra seconds. Bring this percentage down is to expand pre-K in the city so that kids can receive the same support that my son received. Councilmember Bass, Council President Johnson, Councilmember Phillips, and Gilmore Richardson, and Councilmember Harity, please continue being champions for PHL pre-K. I'm here today standing with all parents of Philadelphia. Expand PHL pre-K by 250 seats to give every family in Philadelphia a fighting chance to live and work in this city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate Perez, can Madison Gray and Stephen Kolhami also make their way to the podium?
As I said last week, I fully support the knowledge of how to file taxes under 240087A. I take it a step further that we should know where our taxes are going. As a city, we should question why 23 million of our federal tax dollars go straight to a foreign military. According to Biden's National Security Memorandum 20, the State Department is required to complete a report on Israel's use of weapons in 2023, which is already past due, meaning we have no idea where 300 billion of our tax dollars was spent on. Under Bill 240087A, the Department of Revenue would provide information publicly regarding no-cost tax services provided by the city and other legal aid services. I'm wondering if any anti-war tax workshops will be illustrated in these announcements, the kinds that teach people how to withhold their federal taxes in protest of our taxes directly funding Israel's bombing of Palestine, Syria, Yemen, and Lebanon. This past Tuesday was the 76th anniversary of the Nakba, marking May 15th, 1948 as the day Israel forced the colonization of 78 Palestinians' homelands and mass ethnic cleansing of 80% of their people. Biden celebrated this by introducing an aid package of $700 million for tank ammunition, $500 million for tactical vehicles, and $60 million in mortar rounds to ensure the completion of Israel's colonial project. This is in the name of self-defense against a country that has no army, no navy, no air force, and half the population is made up of children. This comes after Biden said he would end all arms sales to Israel if they invaded the last safe zone of Rafah, which they did on May 6, and have displaced more than 600,000 civilians, attacked 3 medical complexes, and 6 UN schools in defiance of the Geneva Conventions. The average age of a martyr in Gaza is 5 years old. Philadelphia political prisoner Mamia Abu Jamal recently said, if 80% of your targets are not members of Hamas, then either you don't know how to shoot or you intend to hit what you hit. CNN just released their report on the Palestinian hostages that are being tortured, starved, beaten, strapped to beds wearing diapers, and having forced amputations following days of being zip-tied together. Israel's the only country to try children in military court, with the youngest hostage in November coming home with half a skull at 13 years old. This is our sister city. We have to condemn the war bonds, condemn our taxes, condemn the weapon manufacturers in our city, shut down Ghost Robotics, halt the arms sales to Israel, condemn our ports being used to ship missiles, cut the sister city ties, call for a ceasefire.
Madison Gray, can Steve Kolhami, Marlene Robinson, and Leslie Wolf also make their way to the podium?
Hi, my name is Madison Gray. I'm an attorney and independence fellow at the Public Interest Law Center, and we represent the Bris Shalom Tenants Council. I'm here in support of the resolutions and legislation introduced by Councilman Jones, and because the city can and must save Bris Shalom House. The infrastructure and essential systems of the building have been degraded by years of neglect by the building's owner, and it is likely that without city intervention, the conditions will become increasingly hazardous. At this point, L and I may have no choice but to order the tenants to vacate and make the elderly residents homeless. The majority of the tenants have nowhere else to go. This may sound bleak, but fortunately, it does not have to be this way. If we put to use the law City Council passed in 2021 for this exact situation, the necessary urgent repair program. At Brish Shalom, private actors have ignored court orders directing them to repair hazardous conditions, and now they are using those very conditions as a rationale to push tenants out of the building. But with this law, L&I can be the circuit breaker by using the power this council provided it to make the building safe and remove the immediate threat of displacement. After making the repairs, L&I can recover the funds used through a priority lien on the property. This takes the will and it takes the funding, which we have not seen so far. But making the repairs is not enough. Year after year, we've watched as affordable housing is sold off. Buildings like Penn, University City Townhomes. Without city intervention, that is the future here. High-priced condos coming in and the seniors of our city scattered to the winds. It doesn't have to be this way. PHA has said it's ready to work with the city to get this property into its hands so that Brish Shalom can stay permanent, affordable home housing for seniors. That will take work across developments and a commitment to resources from our city and state, but it is worth every penny. The hundreds of affordable units that we will lose at Brish Shalom are the tip of the iceberg of a crisis that will see us potentially lose thousands of affordable housing units in the next decade. This can be a model. Thank you.
Stephen Kolhami.
Ladies and gentlemen, I should have gone last. Everything that the young lady said, and I would like to thank Councilman Jones, who spoke for us on Tuesday, and my understanding is that he's been extremely supportive, so I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm also grateful for this opportunity to address everyone here. Thank you. What can I say? You know, I've been homeless, and I went through the shelter system here in Philadelphia. So if I get thrown out of my home, I can go back to the shelters. I know I'll survive. I survived it already once before. And the last time I looked, Philadelphia was like number 6 in the nation for their shelters, taking care of the homeless. So you guys all should be proud of that. You're doing a really nice job. I guess you could do better, but hey, what the hell? You know, you take what you get. If you look around, there aren't a whole lot of homeless people out there. You know, I mean, I saw somebody sleeping on a SEPTA bench yesterday. And there is one guy that I run into. His name is Steve also. It's the only reason why I remember his name. And he likes to hang out in front of the Wawa by Independence Hall. And he's a really nice guy. Ooh, I got to hurry up. Anyway, the bottom line here is I can survive the shelter system because I've done it. But there's a lot of other people, my neighbors, they're not going to do so well. So pretty please with sugar on top, please help us. Whatever you can do. I would follow Councilman Jones. I think he's a good guy. I don't know who else is involved. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Marlene Robinson, then Leslie Wolf, and Marguerite Bird.
Good morning. My name is Marlene Robinson, and I am a resident of Brish Shalom. Being a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, I wanted to congratulate our the young man who received his scholarship. I wanted to recognize him. I don't know if he's still here, but I wanted to recognize him today and congratulate him, knowing that, and what he said, his mother got him to where he is. Well, I want to let him know, don't let your mother become a senior citizen in Philadelphia. Don't let your mother become a senior in Philadelphia. Go to Yale, but don't let your mom become a senior here in Philadelphia. because it's deplorable the way you want to treat us here at Brit Shalom. It's just unimaginable, unimaginable. I had a script, but I can't go through the script. You need to come see us. You have a wealth of education. I hear the people talking about the schools, the early education. You have young kids come and talk to any of the people at Brit Shalom, and you have your history right there. They'll come walking out of Brit Shalom with knowledge. But you're trying to stifle us? We can't even sit in a communal area and just talk amongst ourselves. You can't, it's just so, it's terrible. It's terrible. Help us, see us, come and see us. Get some knowledge from the older people. I look around here and I see some of you aren't going to have to go through this problem because you're not going to be blessed to be 75, 85, and 95 the way the people at Brit Shalom are. And 97. Is that a blessing? That you're not going to be able to see these at this age? Help us. Come to us. Keep us open. We need to stay open. We are a knowledge of education for the younger people. There's so many things we can tell you. So many people here, I know so many people of you don't know what good trouble is. You don't know what it is, Google it. You need to know. You need to know who said that. Thank you very much.
Leslie Wolf, Marguerite Bird, and John Hogan.
My name is Leslie Wolf, and I made a statement the other day. I'm 85 and I'd like to thrive. And I've been a marketing consultant, and there's a client of mine here named Joe Fraser, who lived in the city. And Joe had a phrase, there was no right way to do wrong, there's no wrong way to do right. And it's time management understood that, to do the right thing for the right people, for the right reason, and then there would be no problem. That's it.
Marguerite Bird, John Hogan, and Mateo Hintz.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing us to come to talk about our plight at Brit Shalom. I used to work at a prison, San Quentin Prison. I lived there, worked there, and I raised 2 children there. And I used to wonder why I didn't feel anything, because these men have had their rights and freedom taken away. And I think it's because I wasn't a prisoner. I was just an employee. I could still come and go. Right now, I'm a prisoner. I'm a prisoner at Brit Shalom, okay? Even though I can come and go, I'm still a prisoner. Like Marlene said, we can't even sit in the lobby and converse with our neighbors. We've had privileges taken away from us. All the doors are locked. There's a push pad on the mailroom door. We used to be able to go in anytime we wanted to pick up our mail. Now you can't do it. You have to pick it up between 9 and 5. If I worked every day and I had to leave before 9 o'clock and I didn't get home until after 5, I wouldn't be able to get my mail. And if I worked on the weekend, same thing. So when am I supposed to pick up my mail? We had a good time Fridays. We had the oldies but goodies night, and we would go in and dance. Another form of communication, another form of socializing. It's been taken away from us because the doors are locked. Our wonderful Miss Grace, she's one of the residents, she's 97. Miss Grace is sick. Her doctor told her, whatever she's doing, keep on doing it. And Miss Grace was dancing She doesn't dance anymore because it's locked up, okay? The laundry room. I'm fortunate that I can still drive and I have a car. I take my laundry out. I don't go downstairs anymore to the laundry room. The pipes burst, it gets flooded down there. There's mice all over the building. And the washers break down, the dryers break down. So when are the people supposed to do their laundry? Plus, there's a time limit on that. You can only do that between 9 and 5. After 5 o'clock, they have fixed it so the elevator won't even go down to the basement, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we are your precious commodity. Seniors, we are your precious commodity. We voted you in. We go to the polls. And it's not to say other people didn't vote you in, but we're your precious commodity because we're going to make sure that we vote, because that's a privilege to be able to do that. So I'd appreciate it if some of you or all of you or whoever would come to Brith Shalom to help us out, because we do not want to lose our housing. And before I finish, I want to give the 19th district kudos. They're always at Brith Shalom because of BS that goes on in the building. I want to thank those men and women for coming. They're there at least 2, 3, maybe 4 times a week. That shouldn't be. And I'm fortunate that I don't see police cars riding in our neighborhood. I live in Winfield Heights. The police barracks are right on Belmont Avenue. I don't even see them. So I'm going to assume that I live in a safe neighborhood, okay? I want it to stay that way. Please.
The chair recognizes Councilman Jones. Want to wrap up? Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. You see the residents that have come out here today, some of them 75 years old, some of them with disabilities, some of them are veterans. Many of them are good voters. Let me say this. They are our Grey Panther activists. But Brith Shalom is not alone. This is the tip of the iceberg, that there are many facilities that started out under HUD contract that had ceilings on rents. Thank God for Jamie Gutierrez, who's been through this, who's trying to coach me through it. But this is going to be coming to a neighborhood near you. And what will happen is that we need to have in place L&I's ability to come make repairs. Because what happened was the owners literally just threw the keys and said, that's y'all problem. After taking out exorbitant loans and not doing repairs. They have begun the process of walking away. This is everywhere from Center City to Winfield Heights. And so as a municipality, I want to thank the mayor for pulling together a team to be able to address this, because we need to create a blueprint on how to do it in South Philly, Germantown, Frankfurt, Northeast, because it's coming. And so understand this part. There's a village in Italy where people live longer than anywhere on the earth. And scientists and anthropologists wanted to know why. So they said, is it the water? Is it the food? No, it is the fact that this village values its seniors. And they treat them as valuable members of the community. So they want to live longer. When you displace them, it's not just finding them new bricks. It's, I know on the 2nd floor, we do the pinochle party. I know on the 5th floor, I get my hair done. And Ms. Smith, over on the 9th floor, makes a mean fried chicken on Fridays. These are familiar things that make your life worth living. So when you displace them, you shorten their life. So they're fighting life and death. So I want to thank my colleagues, because none of this gets done alone. You know, this ain't your first time up. Brit Shalom, Madam Leader. And I want to bring my at-larges to come see what they're talking about. See what they're talking about. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Council will be at ease for a second. Chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaudier.
Thank you, Council President. 20 seconds. I just wanted to acknowledge Councilmember Curtis Jones and his constituents in their righteous fight for housing. And I also wanted to say that thanks to this council, we did pass first right of refusal about a year ago. So that gives the city and affordable housing providers the right to purchase these critical affordable housing units. But there needs to be funding to do that. There needs to be funding to do that for Brit Shalom. There needs to be funding to do that for the right? There needs to be funding to do that for the University City Townhome site. And it's this city's responsibility to ensure that families are not being kicked out on the streets. And I hope we show up that way.
Chair, call the next person for public comment.
John Hogan, can Mateo Hintz and Sam Samore also make their way to the podium?
Good morning, Council. My
Good
name
morning.
is John Hogan. I live in East Mount area. I'm a recently retired member of AFSCME Local 590, which represents the Penn Library support staff. Has in fact represented them since 1969. And I'm here to speak in support of number 240450. In our years, we have negotiated dozens of contracts with the University of Pennsylvania. We have always tried to share our wisdom and experience in collective bargaining with successive Penn administrations. Apparently, it's not helping. So we welcome the efforts of our younger brothers and sisters in teaching Penn lessons about how they treat their workforce. We also welcome the support of council. Thank you, Councilman O'Rourke, for bringing this in. Thank you, all of council. And let's make sure all of Philly is a union town. All of Philly. Thank you.
Mateo Hintz, Sam Samore, and Kiera Felton.
Hi, I'm Mateo. I am the chapter chair for Penn Museum Workers United, AFSCME, District Council 47, Local 397. I want to thank Councilmember O'Rourke and all the sponsors of Resolution 240450 for having our backs. It is such a privilege to have you on our side. As the largest employer of the city of Philadelphia, the University of Pennsylvania has a responsibility to participate in good faith as its employees and community members fight for their democratic right to organize and bargain for fair pay and working conditions. I think that the sheer number of us organizing over the past couple of years should be a testament to how egregious the university's behavior really is. They try to convince us that we're not deserving of livable wages and robust protections on the job. Many of us struggle to get by while the university hoards the wealth that it bleeds from this city. This resolution holds their feet to the fire, and it tells them that the city does not condone this behavior. Together, we are not only changing the way that the university operates, but we're changing the culture on campus. Philly is a union town, and if the university wants to stay in all of our good graces, they need to reckon with that. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. My name is Sam Samore. I'm a PhD student in the English department at Penn. I'm an instructor at Penn, and I'm a proud member of Get Up UAW, the newly ratified graduate student worker union at Penn. So, yeah, we're a union of grad students at Penn who do teaching and research work for the university. Get Up won our recent union election in a landslide victory with 95% of the votes cast in favor of forming a union. That huge margin is a sign. Graduate workers along with all kinds of university employees at Penn and at other universities, want to claim our right to collective bargaining. But in order to win the kinds of truly transformative contracts that all university employees deserve, we need your help. That is why I urge you to pass Resolution 240450, and thanks to Councilmember O'Rourke for introducing this resolution. As the resolution states, graduate workers at Penn have been trying to unionize for about 20 years, with 2 previous campaigns that did not ultimately succeed. Those 2 campaigns failed in large part because of a lack of political support for the rights of graduate workers to form a union. In both 2003 and 2017, graduate workers at Penn tried to unionize, but the university administration collaborated with anti-labor NLRB members appointed by Presidents Bush and Trump to quash those efforts. This time, despite their attempts to delay our election and exclude workers from our bargaining unit, Penn couldn't stop us. But our fight is only just beginning. It's obvious, based on the Penn administration's behavior during recent or ongoing contract negotiations with the museum workers and the residential advisors and other unions, that if they are left to their own devices, they will do everything they can to delay negotiations and prevent change to the status quo. We need you to make it clear to the Penn administration that the kind of behavior they've been exhibiting won't be tolerated from Philadelphia's largest employer. Thanks for your time.
Kiera Felton, Cedric Felton, and Lynn Landis.
Greetings, honorable members of the Philadelphia City Council. My name is Kiera Felton, and I stand before you today with a heart full of gratitude, admiration, as I advocate for the renaming of a street to honor my grandmother, the incomparable Lana Felton Gee. A beacon of strength, resilience, and a visionary leadership in the heart of our beloved city, Resolution 240444. Lana Felton Gee's legacy is woven into the very fabric of our city, a testament to her unparalleled contributions as a business icon and trailblazer in our political landscape. Her unwavering commitment to empowering communities and driving economic growth has transformed Philadelphia into the beacon of opportunity for all of its residents. Growing up, my grandmother would have me sit in her corner office of the Wanamaker building, doing my homework, and even drag me along to meetings at City Hall. As she drove me to school at my beloved Girard Academic Music Program, I would hear her take phone meetings that left an indelible imprint on my career today. I knew she was calling the shots, but at the time, I didn't comprehend the magnitude of her impact. Just this past December, across the hall, we held a celebration for the 10th anniversary honoring the life and legacy of Lana Felton Gee. Some of Philadelphia's political leaders and close family members attended the intimate celebration, filled with gratitude and fond memories of her reign. The guest speaker list included Councilmember Cindy Bass, City Councilmember Jim Harity, former City Council Member Janie Blackwell, State Rep. Durisha Parker, State Rep. Stephen Kinsey, and State Senator Sharif Street. Some of the powerful quotes from that day are, "I was amazed to find out that in the early 70s, she helped an icon get elected, and that was the late Honorable David P. Henderson Jr., whose seat I sit in today. So we're talking about back in the 70s, this lady was out there making sure that people who were doing great things had the opportunity to continue on." State Rep. Stephen Kinsey. City Council Member Jim Harity almost shed a tear sharing stories of how she helped donate to his wife's campaign for traffic court, graciously remembering her, saying, "Jimmy, I'm going to take care of her, just like I take care of you. I'm calling all of my people and telling them to support your wife." Senator Sharif Street shared, "The idea that we have a Black woman mayor today who had a campaign run by another Black woman, well, the first woman to run a mayoral campaign in Philadelphia was Lana Felton Gee. As he explained the lineage of her impact going beyond her era as the campaign leader for Mayor John F. Street, he continued, "You don't get former council president Darrell Clark. He never hires Donna Bullock, who became the chair of Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus. You probably wouldn't have a Senator Sharif Street. If you don't have a Senator Sharif Street, I don't hire Jimmy, and you probably don't have Councilmember Jim Harity. I can go on and on. If you go back to the first Black Mayor, Wilson Goode, there are so many ripples. Each of us is like a pebble thrown in the pond, and the ripples go on long after you can no longer see us. I saved this metaphor for very few people, but Lana Felton Gee was a boulder thrown in the ocean, and the waves impacted all of our world. It is fitting that in this place where she had such a huge impact, City Hall, we are celebrating her legacy because we're still basking in her love and warmth, and we are still feeling the effects of the waves from the ripples of her life. There were so many profound things shared. State Rep Dorisha Parker moved the room with resounding memories of how Lana Felton Gee raised a lot of funding for city program during her campaign. However, I'll share one last quote from Councilmember Cindy Bass. She passionately shared, "Here was this woman who was in a male-dominated business who was a powerhouse. She wasn't a powerhouse who kept her power and authority to herself. She made sure to impart them, particularly on young women like myself. We were the kids in the room, and she was the mom in the room. You had someone who was supporting you. And like I mentioned, this was a male-dominated business, and often Lana Felton Gee was the only woman in the room." Okay, I'll move on to my final paragraph. Thank you, Council Member. The city of Philadelphia, as we know it today, would not be without the work of Lana Felton Gee. The resolutions highlight her accomplishments, but to revel at a few again, she was the first Black woman to run a mayoral campaign for none other than our own Mayor John Street. She was instrumental in the campaigns of Mayor Wilson Goode, Governor Ed Rendell, and President Al Gore. She created the Welcome America 4th of July celebration, which laid the foundation for Philadelphia to have festivals in the same spot, such as Made in America, which brings tremendous economic opportunities to our city. She did everything she could to provide productive opportunities to the youth of Philadelphia, such as the Year of the Child celebration, creating the citywide after-school program, and raising millions of dollars for My School Camp. She even had me and my cousins interning in city council, where I interned under Councilmember Maria Conona Sanchez from 10th through 12th grade. She wanted to make it a program for the entire city, make it a program in the city with more students of Philadelphia, but at that time, her Lou Gehrig's disease had begun to take its toll. She was the co-owner of the hat shop at 29th and Girard, a beloved wife, mom, grandmother, family member, community leader, and so much more. As we honor her legacy, it would be our top honor to rename 29th and Girard to Lana Felton Gee Way.
Cedric Felton, Lynn Landis, and then Nadira Griffin.
Council will be at ease. The chair recognizes two acknowledgements. First, Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just really wanted to thank Lana Felton Gee's granddaughter for being here. I see her son Chief is here as well, and her family. And as I was listening to the remarks, it reminded me of how much Lana Felton Gee did for this city. But I remember her. I remember she was a powerhouse. She was a woman who was in control, in charge, and often she was, as the granddaughter just said, she was often the only woman in the room as significant political decisions were being made here in the city of Philadelphia. So, I know she's smiling down on all of us, and, listen, we keep her family in our prayers, and we thank you for your continued service and dedication. And to Chief, I see he's up there doing something, I don't know.
Hello.
Preparing for his speech, but thank you, Mr. President, and most importantly, thank you to the family for being here as we recognize Lana Felton Gee. She was something special. Thank you.
You're welcome. The chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaudier.
Thank everyone.
Thank you, Council President. I need to leave to take care of official council business, and I request to be recorded as aye on all bills and resolutions.
Leave is granted. Will the chief clerk please call the next person for public comment?
Cedric Felton, then Lynn Landis, and Nadira Griffin.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Chief.
My good friend, they couldn't have chose a better president, brother. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of this whole council. My name is Cedric Felton. They call me Chief. I'm Lana's son, her youngest son. And this is my sister, beautiful sister, Petra Felton here. I used to think that I was getting punished because I just wanted to go play basketball, play football, do the things that young men do. And she was dragged and I was corralled to be born as a Philadelphia citizen and a grassroots legend in Philadelphia. I worked on Curtis's campaign. I worked with Cindy on her campaign. I helped Kenyatta on his campaign. I can go around the room. I just helped Mr. Phillips, the beautiful Miss Gardier. So I went from being Lana's son to Philadelphia first son. And I'll tell you a few stories. I was a Tinley Temple baby. My friends were Birdie Africa, John Africa, Milton Street Jr., Tom Jr. And when it came to organizing, coordinating, and strategizing, it was done at Tinley Temple. Georgie Woods, Dave Richardson. Curtis was a young man at that time. Grassroots. And I see his growth and development. I'm so proud of you, Curtis. I am, brother. You overcame a whole bunch, and you deserve to be right here where you are. I'm going to get right to the point. My niece told me to get right to the point. We were just blessed to be embraced with the 29th Street Lana Felton Gee-Way, which we wanted to do on her 10th anniversary of death. And we needed 100 signatures. So they said, we need 100 signatures in 2 days. So I thought I was going to go get a team and get this 100 signatures, take 3 people out with me. I went right to 29th and Girard. I went store to store from 29th to 27th. And within 2 hours, I had 100 signatures from that community. And it just elated me. I was just elated, like, that these people still remember Mom and the things that Lana done. It was a lady who owned that hat store. Her name was Miss Amy. And there was hundreds of people up to bid for that hat store. And Miss Amy said, I want Lana to have that store because she embraced community. She embraced business. She was one of the starters with Ducky Burks and a couple other people that started UBA, United Black Business Association. So when you called on Lana, you know the job was going to get done. There's times this council was head to head, and they had to come to a resolution. They said, we need to call Lana. And you'll go to her office, and she'll say, Curtis, carry my bag. And by the time Curtis got to John Wanamaker building, he had some resolution. Kenyatta, when he was with David Fattah in the House of Emotion. So, the great Lucian Blackwell, my godfather, David Richardson. I can go on and on. I'm talking about Charlie Blue Barris. I'm talking about the Marshalls. I'm talking about the great Roxanne Jones. I'm talking about we went to Harrisburg and we went room to room and we got that welfare rights thing coming. I'm talking about the charter change. And from there, I was a Charlie Bowser baby. From there, I was a 1199C baby. So I was raised by the great Henry Nicholases, the Dave Richardsons, the Charlie Bowsers, the Lucian Blackwells. And I can go on and on, but once we get this street and we can get everybody to come out on June 8th, we're going to put this program together. You can look at the legacy, or you can Google the legacy of Lana Felton Gee. Thank everyone for your support, and I just love you all, and I love the city of Philadelphia. And let me say my last thing. I moved to Atlanta about a year and a half ago, and I wanted to get away from Philadelphia. I thought I was done. And I looked at the news, and it said, black men are, it was a story about black men missing in their community and in their children's lives. I got on the next plane, I came back to Philly maybe 2 days later, and I have never been back to Atlanta since. Thank you all. I'm a Philadelphia for life, And I'm about, anytime you guys need me in any kind of way, let me know, because you know I'm outside.
Lynn Landis.
Good afternoon. I'm Lynn Landis of smallstreetsphilly.org. This bill, 240220, is an amendment to a zoning designation, and I hope the affected residents were aware of the change. It was an unpleasant surprise in my neighborhood of Washington Square West that we received a letter in March from the Philadelphia Historical Commission, basically warning us that as of their upcoming June 14th meeting, they were going to designate us, or may designate us, a historic district, which means that almost everything we may want to change with the exterior of our houses will need their approval. Make no mistake, many of us support a ban on the destruction of historic buildings and treasures pending the Commission's approval. But it does not mean that we support giving the Historical Commission almost total control over the exterior of our homes. Did you know that if your house is historically designated and you want to change the color of your brick house, the Historical Commission will only approve the color of red brick? Or if you want an additional or enlarged windows, chances are the Historical Commission will not approve that if they can be seen from the street. Why weren't residents notified 3 years ago of these changes? Also, when these talks first commenced with Washington West Civic Association, which only represents 400 residents. But the main problem with the Historical Commission is, as with City Council, the Commission does not allow public comments on non-agenda items, and therefore has shielded itself from public criticism by censoring the public. This is in violation of the First Amendment and the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act and should be finally rectified. Thank you.
Nadira Griffin.
Good morning, councilmen and women. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for the work that you all are doing for the communities of Philadelphia. My name is Nadira Griffin. I am the Philadelphia Community Ambassador for all 10 councilmatic districts. I'm speaking on behalf of the Revolution 240-446. I am in support of the resolution. Also, on behalf of the community, we are asking that, that we are provided a parcel of land, a fee simple parcel of land where I can conduct mental health treatment. We need more facilities, more we need more small safe havens, mental health safe havens. I have community members reaching out for my expertise, and I'm providing free service to our community members. Behavioral and mental health treatment because of the poverty that we're facing, because of regentrification here in Philadelphia. The many members here in Philadelphia are experiencing mental health issues, and it's causing them to be homicidal, suicidal, experience homicidal and suicidal ideations, attempts, and actual homicides and suicides. I'm asking council, it's 17 of you. I know you all have some land. We need, for our community, a piece of parcel of land that's fee simple, so I can conduct these mental health therapies free of service to the people who need it so they can stop breaking and killing, robbing and stealing. We need to bring back hope and humanity to our communities. They're dying. I'm born, raised, taught here in Philadelphia, and I have never seen so many people experience mental health issues before. And it's because of the poverty and the regentrification. We need help. And I'm asking you all, we prefer a piece of parcel of land, fee simple, in the 2nd and the 5th Councilmatic District on Broad Street so all 10 districts can reach it and it be easy accessible until we can get a piece of parcel of land where we can provide treatment in all 10 Councilmatic districts. We're asking you to provide this service for us in the land somewhere that I can provide treatment now. We don't need it tomorrow. We don't need it next year. All I'm asking is to give me somewhere where I can be safe instead of going to their homes. And if you don't give me the land, I'm still going to go to their homes because they're crying out for help. We don't have enough doctors and therapists to provide treatment. So I have to provide this so that they can bring them a sense of sanity and calm. Please do not cut that off because we had people speaking that was not as relevant as this mental health and saving lives. Stop it. We're talking about lives here. We're talking about saving lives. And we're all impacted by some kind of trauma, whether it's past trauma, future trauma, or current trauma. I'm impacted by trauma. My parents are impacted by trauma. We have lost 3 brothers and a sister to violence. And this is why I come down here every day. My parents have not been able to grieve for the 4 children that they've lost here on the streets of the city of Philadelphia to gun violence. And all of this stems from poverty and regentrification. And we want that lab too. All power to the people. Thank you.
Obona Hagans, can Dee Dukes and William Hendricks also make their way to the podium?
Good morning. The People's Chair recognizes me as the unseated council president. And as the unseated president of Philadelphia City Council, I support the renaming of the 2300 block of Oakdale Street to Jill Scott Lane. I remember Jill Scott being featured in my publication, Philly Word magazine. But I also remember her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner recently, where she basically indicated how structurally racist this country is. I'm a 4th generation chattel slavery survivor. I come to you today to show my appreciation to Councilmember Young for introducing this resolution. In the spirit of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the 13th Amendment, I ask for an expansion, however, of this resolution to name June. I repeat, we want to name June in association with this renaming. We want June to be Structural Racist Prevention Month. Structural Racism Prevention Month, the month of June, Juneteenth, the 13th Amendment. I submit this resolution as an interpretive statement that Philadelphia can and must implement immediate wealth transfer policies and assume a leading advocacy position to heal long-standing injuries of its citizens whose ancestors endured chattel slavery in Philadelphia as far back as 1639. So, as your unseated council president, June we resolve that June is Structural Racism Awareness Month, and we're going to let Philadelphia know exactly what structural racism is. Because the roadmap to Safer Communities said that the root cause of gun violence is structural racism, and the solution is large-scale investments in the areas of crime, violence, unemployment. So, if structural racism is the root cause of gun violence, we have to be aware of what structural racism is to address it. Thank you.
Dee Dukes, William Hendricks, and Wick Savage and Hillary Langler.
Good afternoon, Council President, council members, and to everyone here. My name is Dee Dukes. I'm a Winfield community leader. I'm the president of the Winfield Community Neighborhood Association. I'm also the vice chair of the Philadelphia Crosstown Coalition. So I represent a lot of folks. Also sit on the Mastery Charter School Board. I'm here in support of Councilmember Jones's bill, I don't have the number, to support anything that we can do to support Birth Shalom. So being a community leader, I've been to that building. Some of you have not. So they're asking you to come. I've been to that building, and very recently, I came with donations to try to give to the residents there, and there was no place to leave the donations. These folks are our parents. These are our elderly. My mother will be 80 years old this year. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was 94. I support seniors. I support people. We have to give them the funding that they need to be able to live. What is happening at Birth Shalom is disgraceful. If it was your parents, you would not want this. You would not stand by and allow this to happen. So respectfully, the tenants are asking, put Birth Shalom tenants in the negotiation room. Respectfully, Mayor Parker, come and meet with the tenants. Number two, fund the necessary and urgent repairs that are needed. Our homes need repairs, some of them, and they need repairs to be able to live. The disgracefulness that's happening in that building is horrible. And lastly, allocate the funds for PHA to buy Birth Shalom. Please support these seniors. They need our help. Thank you.
William Hendricks, Wick Savage, and Hillary Langler.
William Hendricks. I didn't come here with a crowd of people, nor did I come with a script. I'm a radio personality. Is this the mic right here? Well, I'm going to speak into it. Thank you, sir. I'm a radio personality, and I'm a senior citizen. I'm 73 years old. 73 years is a long, long time. I've been in the music and radio business for more than 54 years. Joe Butterball Tamburo is my family. He's my mentor. He trained me as a public servant. And I'm not the only one. WDAS is an institution for public service in this community because the WDAS has served this community for 75 years. I was there as assistant program director for 54. Joe Butterball Tamburo was there for 50. I don't know what I'm going to say next, because usually when I speak freestyle. I speak the truth. I'm one of the most honest men that you'll ever meet. I do what I say, and I say what I'm going to do. And I do what God and Jesus tell me. God tells me every day when I get up, and in my sleep. He said, Bill, go over here. Bill, go over there. And I said, do I have to? He said, don't question me, just keep on going. And that's what I do. The bill that I'm to speak on is about street naming. And as I was coming over here, I was thinking, because I'm responsible for Joe Tamburo's legacy. And so many radio personalities from WDAS, and I see the light on. Could you please allow me another couple seconds? I won't be long. And there's been many WDAS radio personalities who has had street names after them. But Joe Butterball Tamburo hasn't. Is that my mic? I would like for you, City Council, to consider naming a street after Joe Butterball Tamburo, and I'll tell you where and why. Edgeley Road in Belmont, where WDAS building, half of it is still there. I'm gonna try and claim that building and remodel it because I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy beyond your imagination, beyond my imagination. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm wealthy. Because when you see me, I'm not an African American. I'm not a black man. I'm a person of color. I'm a North American Indian chief, and I say that proudly, Cherokee, but I'm not the only one. You're all kings and queens. This city belongs to you. It don't belong to Billy Penn. The mayor, she came to my house one day on a Sunday. I was sitting by the window and I saw her when she walked up. Okay, I'm gonna wind it up. But anyway, the mayor, she walked up on my porch and I said, that's the Cheryl Parker. I ain't planning on voting for her. So she knocked on the door and I answered it. And when she spoke to me, I told her, I said, you know what, ma'am? You're gonna be the next mayor. Because God chose you because women are God's favorite beings. All of you are queens. Dogs, cats are God's favorite beings. So in closing, I'm gonna say to you, City Council, when you leave your house every morning, think, say, I'm gonna be the best public servant. Serve the city of Philadelphia because that's who you are. Thank you for your time.
Wick Savage and Hillary Langler.
Good afternoon, President, City Council, and City Council members. I first want to thank you, President, City Council, for being in such a support of Prep Charter, along with other council members in this body. I'm here to vote yes for Bill 240185. That's the bill to regulate hours along the Kensington Avenue Charter. If we don't start as a city taking care of the little things, the little crimes, the big crimes will be at your doorstep, as of this past Monday with Council President Kenyatta Johnson, 3 blocks away from his home. A man working for a living had 2 young ladies come in and murder him less than 300 feet from a police station. It is a serious matter to put this genie in check. If you commit crimes in the city of Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia, along with this mayor that is doing a great job, will use every tool in his toolbox to apprehend you. Councilman Michael Driscoll started with the simple law-breaking, spinning in the middle of intersections to pass a bill. The simple bill of tinted windows. The simple bill of plates being hidden by some form of device. You break a window, you get punished. You commit a crime, you get punished. You murder someone, we are going to get you as the citizens of Philadelphia. Thank you.
Hillary Langler.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Hillary Langer, and I'm here to provisionally oppose Bill 240012, the rezoning of the reservoir at Queen Lane and Henry. I've been a resident of East Falls since 1982. I'm chair of the East Falls Community Zoning Committee. I'm a registered architect and have worked as a lead project architect on very large projects, many in excess of the size of this reservoir. As a community, we have been in support of the rezoning to expedite the funding approval, planning, and reconstruction of the plant. The understanding was we were to be given a binding commitment by the Water Department to accompany our support. All along, we have wanted to be team players as we have developed the protections that the community has requested. Instead, when time is running out, our list of protections have been reviewed over months and months, filtered, and then denied while we have not been in the room to negotiate those points. We have requested 4, 5, 6, 7 times, include us in the room. We want to meet, we want to get into the weeds. If you've got a question, we can answer. We want to collaborate. That has not happened. So it's simple. This is all we want. We want you to agree to those protections. I'm talking about the Water Department now, that have already been provided and installed at a time when the plant was zoned residentially. We want to discuss further, face-to-face, those protections we believe can be added into the zoning bill. We appreciate Councilman Jones for getting the bill to this point, but there's a couple of other things we'd like to negotiate in that, and we'd like a face-to-face in order to do that. We want to discuss face-to-face your resistance to a master plan review. There's 4 elements to the master plan. There's 2 ponds, filtration, sedimentation, some accessory uses. I think my cat could master plan this. We want to do this now, as your months-long reviews have brought us to the 11th hour. We can do this next week. We can meet next week. We can get this done. So we're requesting that the bill is held until such time we can have a reworded zoning bill that incorporates negotiated simple protections, that we have a signed binding agreement, commitment, and agree to the review of a simple master plan. Thank you.
Council President, there are no other names for public comment.
We will now consider the bills and resolutions on second reading and final passage calendar. Would the clerk please read the title of resolution number 240444?
A resolution also naming the 2900 block of Girard Avenue as Lana Felton Gee Way.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion regarding resolution number 240444.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 240444 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Congratulations. The clerk will please read the title of resolution number 240445.
A resolution also naming the 2300 block of Oakdale Street as Jill Scott Lane.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion regarding resolution number 240445.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 240445 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. The chair will please read the title of resolution number 240446.
A resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to 928 French Street in the 5th Councilmatic District of the City of Philadelphia, and further authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to transfer to the Philadelphia Land Bank fee simple title to such properties pursuant to Section 16-405 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion regarding resolution number 240446.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 240446 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 240450?
A resolution honoring the University of Pennsylvania workers whose organizing has resulted in a wave of labor victories and who are now represented by AFSCME DC 47, CIR SEIU, OPEIU, and UAW, and calling upon the University of Pennsylvania to come to the bargaining table without delay and negotiate contracts in good faith with the workers.
The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Rourke for a motion regarding resolution number 240450.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of that resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 240450 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of bill number 240012?
An ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Queen Lane, Wissahickon Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard Extended, and Henry Avenue, and to amend Section 14-524 of the Philadelphia Code entitled FDO 4th District Overlay District, and make related changes all under certain terms and conditions.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer an amendment, I think.
Amendment.
Yeah, thank you. I offer an amendment to bill number 240012. A copy of that amendment has been circulated to all members of council. I move for the adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to bill number 240012 be adopted. All in favor will indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the bill has been amended. This bill will be placed on our final passage calendar for the next session of council. Will the clerk please read the title of bill number 240247-A?
An ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Kensington Avenue, Buckia Street, Frankfurt Avenue, and Tioga Street.
This bill hadn't been read on 2 different days. The question now is, shall the bill pass finally? Will the chief clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Phillips? Aye. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson? Aye. Councilmember Gauthier voted aye. Councilmember Thomas? Aye. Councilmember Jones? Aye. Councilmember Landau? Aye. Councilmember Losada? Aye. Councilmember Young? Aye. Councilmember Brooks? Aye. Councilmember Harity? Councilmember O'Rourke? Aye. Councilmember Driscoll? Councilmember Squilla, Councilmember Bass, and Council President Johnson.
Aye. The ayes are 14, the nays are 0. Majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes. 13. Councilor. For the record, that's 13, and nays are 0. Record is corrected. Would the clerk please read the title of Bill number 240281?
An ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Montgomery Avenue, 10th Street, Girard Avenue, and 13th Street.
This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now is, shall the bill pass finally? Will the chief clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Phillips? Aye. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson? Aye. Councilmember Gauthier voted aye. Councilmember Thomas? Aye. Councilmember Jones? Aye. Councilmember Landau? Aye. Councilmember Losada? Aye. Councilmember Young? Aye. Councilmember Brooks? Aye. Councilmember Harity? Councilmember O'Rourke? Aye. Councilmember Driscoll? Aye. Councilmember Squilla? Aye. Councilmember Bass? Aye. And Council President Johnson.
Aye, the ayes are 13, the nays are 0. Majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes. Will the clerk please read the title of Bill number 240087?
14.
Yeah, I just counted that too, correct.
14.
Okay, he's not in the room. For the record, that's 13 on Bill number 240281. I'm sorry, 14 on Bill number 240281. Will the clerk please read the title of Bill number 240087-A?
An ordinance amending Chapter 9-600 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Service and Other Businesses by adding a new section regulating the operation of establishments, providing tax preparation services, and providing for remedies, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill having been read on 2 different days, the question now is, shall the bill pass finally? Will the chief clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Phillips. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. Councilmember Gauthier voted aye. Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Jones. Councilmember Landau. Councilmember Losada. Councilmember Young. Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember Harity. Councilmember O'Rourke. Councilmember Driscoll. Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Bass. And Council President Johnson.
Aye. The ayes are 14, the nays are 0. A majority of all members having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes. Good job. With some work, too. The clerk will please read any additional resolutions on the day's calendar.
A privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Thomas recognizing and congratulating the champion of the week, Antoinette Ellis, a North Philadelphia native and student at Parkway Center City Middle College, on the occasion of being named as a Gates Scholar.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Thomas for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, colleagues. I move for the adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Jones authorizing the City Council Committee on Licenses and Inspection to hold public hearings to examine the progress of implementing Section 906 of the Philadelphia Property Maintenance Code entitled Necessary Urgent Repair Program, to understand the impact it would have if fully funded, and further exploring partnerships and programs that could assist in successfully executing this initiative.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Good job.
And a privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Jones honoring, recognizing, and supporting the courage of the residents at Brith Shalom House located at 3939 Conshohocken Avenue in their pursuit of safe, fair, accessible, and affordable housing in the city of Philadelphia.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Great Panthers, I move for the adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Excuse me 1 second, Chief Clerk. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jim Harity.
Council President, I'd just like to be recorded as voting aye on all bills I missed while I was out.
You're welcome. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Will the Chief Clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Jones honoring Dr. Chad Womack and the United Negro College Fund for their work to advance STEM education in the city of Philadelphia.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones for a motion on the resolution.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste. I move for the adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Young honoring the life and legacy of Doris Jean Hackney, the grandmother of North Philadelphia.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.
And a privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Young authorizing the Joint Committees on Public Safety and Streets and Services to hold hearings to investigate illegal street racing meetups in Philadelphia.
Council will be at a The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.
And a privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Brooks celebrating May 28th as Women's Hygiene Day, recognizing the urgent need for the city to invest in addressing period poverty, and calling for an expanded period equity effort centered on educating and supplying communities across Philadelphia with women's hygiene resources.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Brooks for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.
And a privileged resolution introduced by Councilmember Bass, calling on the Committee of Health and Human Services to conduct a hearing regarding the efficacy and impact of recovery homes and transitional housing, and to gather input from all stakeholders, including members of affected communities, representatives from recovery homes and transitional housing, and from those in recovery to better understand the challenges and concerns from all perspectives.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Bass for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted.
Council President, there are no other resolutions in my possession.
Before we go on to speeches, I want to ask if we can have a standing moment of silence for lifelong City Hall, particularly City Council photographer, Mark Brooks. I'm sure most of the members who've been around, and even the new members as well, have had an opportunity to meet Mark. He played a pivotal role in helping us archive a lot of the memories that we have had serving in this council body. He uncertainly passed away this weekend, so it's going to ask for a moment of silence, standing moment of silence on his behalf. Thank you. Are there any speeches on the part of the minority? The chair recognizes Councilmember Kendra Brooks.
Thank you so much, Council President, and thank you for doing that moment of silence. We had a great loss. This morning, we had a very special guest with us here today in City Hall, and I was proud to welcome the second graders from Logan Elementary School and their teacher, Ms. Morgan Washington Leslie. Logan students, oh, they left. Let me skip that. My office have established a partnership with Logan Elementary, along with 4 other Philadelphia public high schools. The partnership is a way for me to stay connected to what's going on in our school communities, share resources and opportunities for the students and the staff. Last December, Carla Gamble and I visited the school for a holiday story time and giveaway. I also connected to the school with the Office of Community Engagement at Jefferson University, who donated a hydroponic garden system for year-round indoor gardening at the school. Today's visit is another piece of that partnership, and I'm looking forward to what's next to come. And I also want to thank Welcome Philadelphia for making sure these students leave with some awesome swag, and some of my council colleagues who also made sure they had a bag full of treats. Last night, I hosted Breaking Free from Eviction Records Community Conversation at Geisha Ministries in the 2nd District, and I want to thank Council President alongside State Representative Ishmael Smith-Waddell, Chairman Jordan Harris, State Rep. Rick Krajewski, State Rep. Elizabeth Fiedler, Holly Beck from Community Legal Services, and a host of amazing community leaders. The event included a small group conversation and highlighted the impact of housing insecurity on young people, our seniors, and shared legislative solutions as we listen to the hopes and concerns of community members. And I look forward to more community conversation and with council's involvement. And also, I would like to connect more with Councilmember Jones on Bris Shalom. The National Organization of Women estimates the average woman spends roughly $18,000 on period-related products over the course of their lives. For nearly half of low-income women in the United States, that means having to choose between buying food and menstrual products. Thousands of women and girls in Philadelphia cannot afford this basic necessity. This has serious consequences on their physical and emotional health, including forcing women to stay home from work and school. At the forefront of combating this problem is Lynette Medley, the CEO and founder of No More Secrets, and the creator of the nation's first menstrual hub, The Spot Period, which distributes free menstrual products to people in need. And I'm so grateful that they're both doing this amazing work. I also want to highlight 3 hearings coming up next week. On Tuesday, in partnership with Minority Whip Nicholas O'Rourke, I will be holding a hearing on overdose crisis in Black communities across Philadelphia. Deaths by accidental overdose are getting worse in Philadelphia, and the rate of overdose is the highest in the Black communities, specifically Black men ages 45 to 65. And we will be hearing from community members and experts about the state of public health infrastructure in our city and a range of evidence-based strategies that we can use to combat this crisis. And I want to thank Councilmember Nina Ahmad, the chair of Committee on Public Health, for working with our office to host Tuesday's hearing. On Wednesday, we'll be holding a hearing on the priority bid legislation that I introduced on Council President's behalf. For years, I've been advocating to protect and expand community gardens. And at our hearing next week, our hearing last week, we heard about their many benefits for decreasing crime and stabilizing neighborhoods to provide healthy food and increasing climate resilience. Rising property values and pressure from developers are threatening the limited green space in our city. In 1996, Philadelphia was home to over 500 community gardens, but over the past 25 years, we have lost over 1/3 of those gardens. And once the land is sold, we will never get it back, and we lose the opportunity to make Philadelphia a greener, more beautiful city for our children. Granting a priority bid to the land bank is a necessary step to allow community gardeners to take ownership of the land that they have been tending to for years. I'd like to thank Councilmember Ketsi Lozada for her leadership as the chair of Public Property Committee, which will be hosting the hearing on Wednesday morning. Also on Wednesday, in partnership with Councilmember Gautier, O'Rourke, and Landau, I will be holding a hearing on legislation to make the eviction diversion program permanent. Eviction filings can destroy someone's chances of finding safe, affordable housing in the future, and the lasting harm of eviction records falls most heavily on Black women and their children. Of the people who entered the eviction diversion program, nearly half reached an agreement without filing for eviction. At the hearing Wednesday afternoon, we will be hearing from tenants, landlords, and legal experts about the many successes of the program, which has been hailed as a national model for keeping families in their homes. We will also be examining the need for targeted financial assistance, also known as rental assistance. Under the leadership of then Councilmember Johnson, we secured $30 million a year in rental assistance over the past 2 years. As noted in Mayor Parker's 5-year plan, that funding has helped nearly 38,000 landlords recoup an average of about $4,000 in rental arrears. In total, nearly 10,000 landlord-tenant pairs have benefited from either mediation or rental assistance since 2020. By including $50 million in rental assistance in next year's budget, we will ensure that families can continue to access this critical financial support during our city's unprecedented housing crisis. Thank you so much, Council President.
You're welcome. The chair recognizes I got a lot of going on next week, that's for sure. The chair recognizes Councilmember O'Rourke.
I'll be quick today. Just a couple things I wanted to hit on. First, I was disturbed, deeply disturbed, to have to go on Monday night due to the update from my Director of Constituent Services, who was classmates with Miss Andrea Glaze, someone who was murdered. I was disturbed because I heard this was the 3rd case of domestic violence this past month, I think, that had come up. And so that was alarming to me and certainly a downer. The next morning, my spirits were lifted just a bit as I had the opportunity to see the renovations that are taking place at Amia's place. Much kudos to Women Against Abuse and the renovations that took place there, a shelter that is for those who are fleeing domestic abuse, and that's something that we need to keep our eyes on and continue to raise points about. Also in that spirit of celebration about good things, I had the honor of nominating, appointing Miss Abena Ruiz to the new Philadelphia Commission for Women. She's a proud immigrant from Trinidad who works as a nanny and a doula with a deep concern for children and families. And that was a big deal for me to be able to make that appointment because of her organizing work with the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Special place in my heart, as my grandmother was a domestic and I grew up in other people's homes that she was helping raising their children and families, and I know how important they are to the fabric of our society. And in conclusion, I wanted to send one more note of congratulations and appreciation for the workers that are organizing our city's largest employer, UPenn. Seems like when it comes to Penn, everything is big. They're not just the biggest employer, but they're also the city's largest property owner, private property owner. So the ripple effects of their workforce continually organizing and unionizing, it's fair to say, are sure to be big as well. I also want to thank my colleagues, all of you, for joining me in that effort in saying that unions belong at Penn, something that's become clearer and clearer as more workers realize their collective power, the power in solidarity. Graduate student workers came to that realization earlier this month when they came together to win their union certification election. Now the question is what that union, as part of the larger coalition of Penn workers, can actually achieve going forward. I certainly look forward to the impact this will have at the university and citywide, and I hope that we as members of this body remain in steadfast solidarity with the coalition of workers at Penn. I want to say once more, unions belong at Penn. So we as a body expect timely contract negotiations in good faith from the university, because anything less than that, I think, is unbecoming of an institution that anchors our city and doesn't pay too many taxes but owns a lot of property. After all, Philly is a union town, or as they say in the streets, get up, get down. Philly is a union town. We can't just talk about it, but we got to be about it. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Speeches on behalf of the majority. Councilmember Phillips.
2 weeks ago, thank you, Council President. 2 weeks ago, I introduced legislation to rename the West Oak Lane Library to the Dwight Evans Library at West Oak Lane. Well, today is Congressman Dwight Evans' 70th birthday, so I just want to say happy 70th birthday to Congressman Dwight Evans from all of us in the city of Philadelphia, and thank you for being a trailblazing community servant in Philadelphia, but especially in Northwest. So from all of us, City Council, happy 70th birthday, Dwight Evans.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, on behalf of the administration, the Parker administration, we introduced a bump stock prohibition. There's an African proverb that says, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. You won't stop gun violence. You won't stop the proliferation of weapons in our city until you take it on one bite at a time. Being oblivious to and not fearful of being sued. You proved that if we persist, we prohibited ghost guns. Matter of fact, we got a couple of dollars back for it. So fighting the good fight is what this council should do. It is unfair to the citizens of Philadelphia, but to our officers on the street that every day go out to protect us. And with this piece of trigger mechanism, imagine this, as fast as you can pull your trigger, it fires twice as fast because it pulls it, shoots. When you let it go, it shoots again, almost creating a weapon that is on automatic. Our officers come out with their standard issue guns, face all kinds of unknowns, but what they should not have to face is trigger enhancements. The secret is it's not as much the caliber of the gun, it's how many pieces of lead come at you quickly. And it's not uncommon for us to see 100 spent shells at a crime scene because of these trigger mechanisms. I am former President Darrell Clark went up to a gun show, and it was like the movie scene in Jaws. We all backed up, gaping, and said, we need a bigger boat, because I never saw that many tables full of guns in my life. And more importantly, some of the parking lot transactions that happened after it. So this city, this administration, our mayor, is doing what she can in the way that she can to protect citizens and police officers in the city of Philadelphia. So I would hope you will consider this prohibition favorably. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jay Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past Tuesday, the Fairmount Civic Association hosted an emergency town hall to discuss the proposal for 2100 Girard Avenue. It was a well-attended meeting. Over 200, close to 300 residents attended this meeting because they are concerned about their community and they want to have answers to some of these questions. We are fortunate, and I'm going to thank the mayor for sending the managing director and her chief of staff to this meeting to try to answer some questions. But there are many, many questions that were left unanswered. And as we continue this process, I want the folks in Fairmount and the 5th District as a whole to know that we are here fighting for you, and we will make sure that you get every answer you deserve because when something has a negative impact on your quality of life, it's up to us as your council members to fight for you and to make sure that your rights, your safety, and your welfare is protected. This evening, I will also be back in the Fairmount community. Today is Beach in Bloom, which is Beach Martin's annual fundraiser. So I'll be at the Beach Martin Elementary School this evening from 4 to 7 as the event time. So if anyone is able to come, please attend. This Saturday is also the Girard Avenue Festival, sponsored by myself, State Representative Donna Bullock, and the Fairmount CDC. And so if anyone wants to come out, there are performances, there are resources, please bring your family and enjoy this Girard Avenue Festival for the Fairmounts and Beardtown communities. And that will be between 26th and 29th Street on Girard Avenue. For my Girard College alumni, happy Founders Day. Founders Day is Saturday, so please come out as well to fellowship with your fellow Girardians. I will also be at a town hall this Sunday at Mecca Masjid on 13th and Susquehanna, talking about the state of the Muslim community here in Philadelphia. So please come out if you are in that particular area this Sunday. That's from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. The chair recognizes Councilman Rulandau.
Thank you, Council President. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a late one. I want to start by thanking my colleagues for your support on my tax preparation transparency bill. It's passed today and will mean that next year during tax season, tax preparers will have to disclose their fees up front. This means no more hidden fees for consumers who go to big tax preparers who go through their sometimes hours-long process just to be hit with high fees in the end. You know, in Philadelphia, there's over 50,000 eligible Philadelphians who are eligible for and not receiving the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is the greatest anti-poverty initiative in the country. That's free money for our neighbors and for our family members. Tax prep can be expensive and confusing, and free services with IRS-accredited tax preparers are available in Philadelphia. We estimate that $64 million could be returned to low-income Philadelphians if they use free tax prep services. And one big reason for the lack of participation is that some unscrupulous corporate for-profit tax preparers don't disclose their prices up front, and they use tricky ads to lure consumers in. While there's plenty of work to be done on consumer protection in Philadelphia, I'd like to again thank my colleagues for the rich conversation about this bill and for the work we were able to do to get it across the finish line. I'm confident that the disclosure of these fees will lead to not only more money in the pockets of Philadelphians, but also to more Philadelphians considering and learning about free tax prep services alternatives like VITA. And second, I'd just like to give a shout out to Councilmember Curtis Jones and his office for their work with Brit Shalom and the continued work on fighting for safe, habitable, and affordable housing there. And also for the swift implementation of the necessary urgent repair program of L&I. I look forward to working with my colleagues so we can find a positive resolution to the situation soon. And finally, I'd like to shout out Councilmember Jones for his bill, which I co-sponsored, banning bump stocks on guns. This is a common sense regulation with gun violence still raging here in Philadelphia. This is one of the steps we must take as a legislative body to move closer to mitigating gun violence in Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good bill. Young people call them switches. That's what they call them in the streets these days, but definitely need to be prohibited. The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be brief. I just wanted to say just a couple of things. The first is that, you know, in my tenure here in City Council, you come across a lot of different people, and we've, you know, sort of seen them come and seen them go. Mark Brooks was a class act. Yeah. He was a great guy. He was a part of the City Council family. And he was here from, you know, the day one when I arrived. And he was just a joy and a pleasure to work with, always smiling, always positive, always friendly, never having a bad day, despite, you know, whatever his physical or health limitations and challenges were. And so, you know, he is going to be missed because he was just such a good guy. And, you know, he was really a special individual, so he's going to be missed. I just wanted to say just a couple of things really briefly. I wanted to thank everyone who came out to our expungement clinic and Family Fun Day at Panatti Playground on North 22nd Street. this past Saturday. We had about 400 or 500 folks who showed up, and we wanted to give much thanks to Keisha Hudson and the Public Defender's Office, and also Community Legal Services, Daryl Schuler, Herc Beans and the crew, and everyone who contributed to making it such a success, Allegheny West Foundation, and so many others. It was just, great turnout, and it's a reminder of the need for such services, that people really do want to get their situations in order. We want more, we want better for our community, and this is something that we have to provide on a more regular basis. So I look forward to working with you, Mr. President, as we work to formalize these kinds of events throughout the entire city of Philadelphia, because they came from near and far and wide to be able to get some service. So I just wanted to say this. And I also just wanted to remind everybody, before we let go of today's council session.
It's a good one.
Right? I got more.
That's what's up.
Before we let go of today's council session, that we're going to have a very important street renaming this coming Saturday for Frankie Beverly, Philadelphia's own. It's going to be this coming Saturday, and the location was just recently moved from Germantown to the Dell to accommodate the enormity of the crowd that we expect to attend. It's going to be from 12 to 2 p.m., and the event will be held whether the weather is sunshine or rain, which can be joy or pain. So let us come together. We are one in honoring this Philadelphia native. And again, 12 to 2 Saturday will be the golden time of day. As we stir up happy feelings and say to Frankie Beverly, I want to thank you. And so let's get together and come out and celebrate him. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. I don't know, Councilman O'Rourke, you gotta get you a run for your money. I don't know. Before we adjourn, just good work, everyone. Very robust group of initiatives that everybody is either working on or upcoming, and so it just shows that we're all working collectively to move the city of Philadelphia forward. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that. At this time, the chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Council President. I move that council stand adjourned until Thursday, May 23rd, 2024 at 10 a.m. sharp.
It has been moved and properly seconded that council stand adjourned until Thursday, May the 23rd, 2024 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries.